Right. So we have some question about what is the dual role of deposit insurance. I think we have done that part, right? Okay, is that right? Yes. Yeah. Then, who is the responsible for the operational and management of this scheme? Now, you have to write down somewhere in your note, right? Now, there is a possibility of questions coming from any subject next year. I mean, next year mean this year, right? Now, who is the responsible for the operational and management of this scheme? I have a strong feeling they will tested you at one of the area, one of commercial banking or scheme or whatever, right? So earlier this scheme was handled by basically this scheme was handled by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, operational management, right? The Central Bank of Sri Lanka, under the director of bank supervision. That means the bank supervision department. But from 2018, remember the important thing, 2018 January 1st, these schemes were handed over to another department of the central bank. So that department is called Resolution, RESOULITOI, Resolution and Reinforcement Department, right? Now, what is that? What is the new department or new division department handled by this deposit insurance scheme? We call from 2008 onward, 18 onwards, Resolution and Reinforcement Department. That's also under central bank, but they may ask, but what is the role of this division? The role of this division basically settlement of these certain complaints against the financial institutions as well as the banks and pyramid schemes, prevent any unauthorized schemes, any complaints put it by customers like that, right? Okay. So what are the disadvantages of this scheme we discussed? One of the disadvantages is a moral hazard problem. What do you mean by a moral hazard problem? Now remember, the moral hazard problem is this. Moral hazard problem means that is the important thing. Now, if you want to write, you can write under moral hazard problem. One of the main disadvantage of this scheme is moral hazard problem. HAZARD. So, what is moral hazard problem mean? Now say if you are to have a insurance for motorbike, so your car injured, at least you need to have insurance. No, you can go for two type of insurance. One insurance is third party insurance. Now the third party insurance and the full coverage insurance. Now what is third party mean? So if something happened to your vehicle, accident or anything, the insurer not give you any cents. Only for liable, the accident people, other party only get the benefits. So therefore, when you are driving, so you have to be you are very careful. If something happened, you won't get any claims. So that is so because of you don't have insurance. Now, suppose now banks and customers feel it now, you can get up to 600,000 of insurance per customer, per institution. They tend to do some risky activities, right? Risky ka ganna වැඩි insurance තියෙනවනේ හප්පන් කියනවා කමක් නැහැ මට on the spot තියෙනවා මම සල්ලි අර ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. So you tend to take more risk. So that is what you call moral hazard, සදාචාරාත්මක උදුර. Now if you want to say, you can just put it, both depositors and banks tend to take more risk, right? Both depositors and how depositors, they try to put the money in the places where you get high interest, but something happened to that finance company, you will get some insurance cover, right? So that intention you go for deposit with a higher interest risky finance company, right? So both depositors and banks tend to take more risk, expecting. What is expecting? Expecting the financial loss cover from the deposit insurance scheme. Can I repeat it again? So what do you mean by the moral hazard problem? both depositors and banks tend to take more risk, expecting a financial loss cover from insurance. That's the thing. That's a danger, right? Other danger is, it not cover. Is another disadvantage. Mean it's not cover all the deposits. There are some deposits are excluded. So therefore, second disadvantage, there are some deposits are not covered, right? Third disadvantage, only the deposit customers are covered, not the credit customers, right? So another drawback, only the credit customers are not covered. Okay, so these are some of the disadvantages. Okay, clear? If you not understood, please tell me. Right? Okay, now I think we have done this question. These questions came on non-banking financial business examination of 2021. Which of the following is not member institution of Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Liquidity Support Scheme? Is what to licensed commercial banks, licensed specialized bank, licensed finance companies, licensed leasing companies not there, right? Okay, why? We discussed because it's not supposed to collect deposit for customers. So Divinaguma Bank, those comes under Samurti, but even though we call them as a bank, those deposits are not covered under deposit insurance scheme. Why? Because the Divinaguma banks are not monitored and supervised by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, right? Okay. Okay, now very interesting question. Right, very interesting question that also came on non-banking financial business during this last March, September, which is concluded. Right, can go through correctly, and is a very fantastic question. I'm very like that question. That is the standard. I, being an examiner, I'm going to set. Right now, tell me the correct answer. Now read very carefully. It covered a lot of things, but I have taught to you. Now read this question and tell me the answer. Select the correct statement with respect to Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme. Right. Just read it. Read it and tell me the correct answer. Right. Then you are very thorough, right, of this subject. Even though it is not comes under my area, but doesn't matter. But we are learning deposit insurance scheme. Right. What may be the correct answer? I give you 2 minutes. Can any volunteer tell me the answer? Don't worry, right? If you give the wrong answer, no problem. So answering is the important thing. Carefully, yeah, you didn't get caught up. What we have learned last time. Select the correct statement with respect to Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Scheme. The compensation payable in respect of insured deposits of a member institution be computed on a per deposit basis. Compensation determined as per the regulation will be paid within 6 months from the date of suspension or cancellations of the license of a member institution. Member institution shall remit the applicable amount of the premium to the account of the deposit insurance fund within a period of 30 days from the end of the respective quarter. Now, if you really understood something is there, you can say D is not the correct answer. I will support you. Why? Then all about something is wrong. Now that means, now member institution means finance companies and banks, right? Then you will know, see whether it's right or wrong. C is right or wrong?
Wrong.
Wrong. Why you say wrong?
It is not 30 days. It should be 15 days.
Yes, correct. Exactly. Then C is if you know, so you can delete immediately what answer? C is not correct, then you can say delete it another answer from A, B, C, D. What is the other answer you need to delete?
D.
C, C
D.
and D.
Yeah, C and D, no? No, C and D. Why? Why? Because C is not correct. That means you cannot be all the above statements. Cut the points. So then you have to have a 50%, 50-50. Understood? No, that is way you. That is why I am telling all these things. Some students gave me the answer. C is not the correct answer. Yes. Why? Because only the 30 days is given for banks. For finance companies, how many days? 15 days. Then if C is not correct, it cannot be answer D. Right? So therefore C, D is wrong. Not the correct answer. All above you can't say all of the above. Right? So then you have to select between A and B. What is the correct answer? A from A and B. Now, what is the compensation payable? Maximum compensation payable per customer? How much? How much insurance covered? Come on, Pudha. What's the total amount? Huh?
600,000.
600,000, right. Okay. So now, what is the correct answer? A or B?
A.
Correct answer is A. Right. Any other alternatives? Now I am just telling you again. I'm just telling you. Now the insurer is paid. Now say you have a right. You have a. I just give you last time this example. Now you have a Sampath bank. You have a 500,000 rupees. Okay. Then you have a 1 million rupees at Bank of Ceylon. Then you have a 1,700 rupees at People's Bank. Right. Okay. Clear? What is the insurance amount you can cover maximum? I asked a simple question. Now, I said you have a 500 rupees in Sampath Bank as FD. Then you have a Bank of Ceylon, you have 1.2 million. Then People's Bank, you have a 1.7 million. Say for an example. What is the maximum amount you can take? Now, just a practical question. Now, you deposit the money in the Ceylon Bank. Sampath Bank for 500,000. How much you can get it from Sampath Bank? Any audience, right? It's like this, Pudha. Now, this scheme is applicable per customer, per institution. Why? Because your deposits, the particular bank is paid the premium. Right? Now, say for an example, per customer, per deposit. So, therefore, you can get it 500 rupees from 500,000 rupees from Sampath. Why? Because your Sampath maximum amount you deposit is less than 600,000. So, you can get 500,000. Bank of Ceylon, how much you can get? Out to 1.2 million, you can only get 600,000. Now, People's Bank, how much you can get it? Maximum again 600,000. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So then what is the amount maximum you can get? 1.7 million. Why? 600 from People's Bank, 600 from Bank of Ceylon, and 500 you can get it. Why? Because it's less than. Right. So what is the compensation payable in respect to insurance deposit for member institution be computed on a per deposit basis? Per deposit, per customer, per institution. Okay, what is the methodology? Per customer, per institution. So the correct answer, therefore, compensations determined as per the regulation will be paid within the 6 months from the date of suspension cancellations of the license of a member institution, right? So answer, even though you don't know, you can answer B. Now, I'm very happy again. The same exam, what I told you now was tested, right? Okay, now tell me this answer. Answer 3, 4. First answer 3, 4. Now this is again another question on the non-banking financial businesses. Answer question 4 first, will you? Question 4. What is the answer for question 4? Answer for question 4. Now, which I told you there, right? Okay, tell me. That's a good question, right? Now, you are testing something. If a questions can come, right? This type of question can come in our subject as well. Mr. Silva is a depositor of I07 finance company, and he holds a deposit of 200,000 in a savings account and 250,000 in a fixed deposit amount. So, what is the amount he deposited in this I07 finance company? 450,000. Now, what is our rationale in calling? Per customer, per institution, right? What is the per customer maximum you can get?
600,000.
600,000. Now, can he get 450,000 from these 2 column only 2 statement? Yes or no? Same company, no? Can. Why? 200, 250, 450 can. But he have another account. Now, another account is how? What is that account? Joint account with her daughter. Now, for the joint account, the amount should be shared between the parties. Now, here the daughter 50-50. Now, what is the total amount? 400,000, right? Then what is the he can get it from 400,000. He can get 200,000. Okay, so then 200,000, 250,000, 200,000. So what is the total amount then? 650,000. But he can't get 650,000. Why? What is the rule? Maximum he can get per customer. How much? Per institution. So then what to? Indirectly they are asking 600,000. Maximum he can get per person, per customer, no? Right? Now, suppose he is having the 400,000 is another bank, how much he can get it? 400,000. But still, because he can get only 200,000, because it's a joint account. So joint account, right? Joint account, right? Joint account, right? Joint account, it will be divided among the deposit amount is divided among the joint account holders. Say we have 5 people, then 200,000 divided by 5. How much one person can get? 40,000. Right? Okay. Now it's a very interesting question, but think about it logically. What is the rationale? Per customer, per institution. Per customer, per institution. So if it is a joint, it is divided, the deposit amount is divided equally among where? Equally among the deposit amount. Now here the daughter gets 200,000, father get 200,000. But he has extra 200,000 in savings, 250,000 in here. But once it's come to finalizing, first you get your individual amount, right? First you get the joint and then divided among all other things. So this is what is the maximum amount, in this case 600,000, but he can get only 250, 600,000, right? My joint account will be divided. Okay, right. Can you answer to, the main objective of deposit liability scheme we discussed, right? We discussed what is the main objective of deposit insurance scheme. Second one, list 5 deposit. Okay, first we look at list 5 credits available for Sri Lankan deposit insurance fund. What do you mean by it? Now, what do you mean by a credit? That means if you have an account, how your fund, how your account balances are increasing the moment you credit some money to account. Right now, suppose you have a savings account in your bank, XYZ company or finance company, for example, right? So how can you improve your deposit balances in your savings account? The moment you put the money, your account will be credited, no? So that by your deposit balances accumulating. Likewise, the question is asking how you can credit for the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Fund? But how can you credit? How can the balance increase? Simple. What can you tell me of one method? How can the deposit insurance fund is growing? One method? From where? Where you get the fund? We discussed the deposit insurance fund initiated with 1.1 billion put by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. But now it is having something close to 62 billion. How this 1.1 to 62 has come? That is the asking. So list 5 credits. How the deposit insurance is increasing? One method is through what? Come on, Putta. I think you
Funding from Central Bank Sri Lanka.
Funding
from Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
No. That's
One method.
Initially.
And deposit accepted from the public.
No. For fund. What is the source of income for fund? What banks are doing? Who are the members of the Sri Lanka insurance scheme?
Premium payments from financial institutes.
Yeah, what type of payments? That is the asking. Come on, quickly. Very easy, simple. How insurance company get money? How insurance company get money? Are you having insurance? Huh? You have an insurance cover? Huh? No? Right. Now, what are you doing now to involving in this insurance cover? What are you doing? You are sending what? Are you covered, Putta? What are you paid? Why? What all these banks are paying to the insurance deposit insurance fund? Come on, simple.
And the interest, sir? Interest, sir?
No. What type of interest? No. Forget about you. Just think very simple. Now I told. Now say we have to calculate from the deposit amount. We say you had to pay 0.1 to 0.25, 0.01 to 0.15% you need to pay to the this fund. So how you call that? I want your mother key. Now premium. Harida. Leasing premium. So deposit insurance scheme ekata salli enne ar member banks වලින් customers අංගෙන් එකතු කරගන්නා වූ deposits අනුව 0.1 ඉඳන් 0.15% වශයෙන් premium ගෙවන්න ඕනේ quarterly. ඒක කොහටද යන්නේ? ඒක ගිහිල්ලා එකතු වෙන්නේ කොහෙටද? credit වෙන්නේ කොහෙටද? Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Fund. එතකොට එකක් තමයි list 5 credits නේ. එක credit එකක් මොකද්ද? Premium. Right? හරිද? මතකයිද? Right. මොකද අනිත් එක? දැන් ගෙවන්න පරක් වුණොත් premium එක මොනවාද charge එක?
penalty.
Huh? Premium එක දවස් 15ක් ඇතුළත ගෙවන්න බැරි වුණොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? Central Bank එක මොනවද charge
Penalty
කරන්නේ?
charge.
Huh?
Penalty
Penalties.
charge.
Penalties නේද? ඉතින් ඒකත් income එකක් නේ. So first one, list 5 credits available for the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Fund. One is a premium, other one is a penalties paid by member institution. හරිද? හරි. එතකොට අපි කිව්වා දැන් මේ fund එක million 62 billion ඇවිල්ලානේ. Now we discuss why it has changed from deposit insurance scheme to liquidity support scheme. Why? Because the banks, if they have some liquidity problem, they can go to the what? To the deposit fund and ask some loan. So when you're getting loan, what you are paying for in return? ණයක් ගත්තම ණයත් එක්ක අපි බැංකුවට මොකක්ද හම්බෙන්නේ? What is the income?
Interest.
Oh, interest, loan interest. එතකොට ඒ වගේ මේ deposit insurance එකට තව credit වෙනවා තමයි the loan given by the through to the bankers from the deposit insurance fund. The interest. How is it? Okay, right. Loan interest. තව එකක් කියන්නකෝ. ඇයි එතකොට අපි කිව්වා මේ ෆන්ඩ් එක මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ ෆන්ඩ් එක accumulate වෙනවා. මේ ෆන්ඩ් එකේ තියෙන සල්ලි අපි ගිහිල්ලා ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා. ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න නීති අනුකූලව තියෙන්නේ කොහෙටද? Only for the government securities. Right? එතකොට government securities වලත් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කළාම මොකක්ද හම්බෙන්නේ? Profits, income gains, right? All are put into this insurance deposit fund. Clear that? Then me ahandi me ප්‍රශ්නය වෙන විදියකට අහන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා deposit insurance fund එකට සල්ලි එන්නේ කොහෙන්ද? Okay, understood? Simple, no? Right. Question 2, of course, you know, list 5 deposit liabilities excluded from the Sri Lanka deposit insurance scheme. මතකයිනේ liability අපි මොනවද අයින් කරන්නේ? Cash, the customers who take the loan from their deposits, all government institution, member institution, dormant accounts, abandoned property, directors, key people on the bank, you are avoided or take out from the deposit when you are calculating from the insurance. Right? So list 5 deposit liabilities excluded from Sri Lanka deposit insurance scheme. Right? I have given you in your handout. There is a separate all deposits exclude කියලා තියෙනවානේ. Right? ඒ ටික තමයි උත්තරේ. Now you see easy, no? Easy then. Only thing I think then from here you can't ask any question. Right? Okay, so you need to understand what do you mean by credits කියන්නේ? How you are going to get the money? How the deposit is increased now. Okay, now can't be any questions, right? Apart from this, right? Okay, right. Now the question asked in your January 2015 survey of financial system. බලන්නකෝ මේක අපෙන් මගෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්තම ඕගොල්ලන්ට කොච්චර ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍ර වලට උත්තර ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Right? ඒක තමයි I am at the beginning of this my lecture series. I told you have selected the right optional subject. Why? Because once you've done the financial class management, you can answer other subjects as well. එක ගලි කුරුල්ලු දෙකයි තුනයි. දෙන්නෙක් කියලා අපි කියන්නේ දෙකක් නෙවෙයි දැන් තුනක් මරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? What is this question? They are asking write small notes. Right? Briefly discuss the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme introduced by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. එතකොට 5 mark මතක තියාගන්න. You get 5 marks, no? For one question, long question, you get 5 marks. Then you need to at least to consider to write 5-6 points. Right? Usually the examiner give 1 point for 1 mark for 1 point. Sometimes they say if you write 2-3 points, you get 2 marks. Balance 1 each. එහෙම තමයි දෙන්නේ. දෙකක් තුනක් ලිව්වොත් ලකුණු දෙකයි. ඉතුරු ඉතුරු තුනට තව ලකුණ ගානේ දෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ, right? Okay, now, so what you say, you can say deposit insurance scheme, right? You have to say what is when you started the deposit scheme. You can advise this first scheme objective එක right? Certainly deposits are එතකොට මේකට ප්‍රධාන දේ තමයි දැන් ඔයාගේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක අනුව ලියන්න. දැන් මේක අහන්නේ සර්වේ නේ. සර්වේ එකේ හින්දා ඔයා ලියන්න ඕනේ deposit insurance එකට calculate fund එක credit වෙන්නේ කොහෙන්ද කියලා. ඒක වැදගත්. එතකොට අපි කියනවා the member, these are the members countries and එක එක, right? First deposit scheme was started in 2000 blah blah blah, right? And then you can say this scheme was started from 2010 if you want, from October 1st, and then was renamed right, as liquidity support scheme. Then now the main objective of this scheme is this. Then you can say the fund for the schemes is generated from the premium sent by the member institution. Those are the member institution, right? From finance companies like that, you have to pay. So maximum deposit can be taken by customer per institution is 103, like that. Keep that clear. Okay, clear? Right. I think now you don't want to have no questions can be asked other than that. Right? Okay. The deposit insurance scheme. Can you answer any question? You want anyone to clarify certain things, Puta? Please tell me. Huh? You need to clarify anything, right? Can you have on in the hand? Clear? Right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
If any, just for the knowledge, it's
Yeah.
a Sanasa banks also coming on the central bank, or is that any Samurti bank?
No, Sanasa Development Bank, what do you mean by Sanasa? Sanasa comes under, Sanasa is now, okay, now since you're asking this question, I want to explain. Now, how many savings license specialized bank in Sri Lanka? How many license specialized bank in Sri Lanka? Can anybody tell? In fact, this question asked at your FIM, Financial Institution Management at DABF. One question they asked this year, name 2 licensed specialized bank in Sri Lanka. I'm asking for a FIM question, right? This is my question as well. Right. How many finance companies in Sri Lanka? Sorry, how many licensed specialized bank in Sri Lanka? Number 1, National Savings Bank. Number 2, tell me 2. State Mortgage Bank.
HDFC.
Right. 3rd, HDFC. 4th, Regional Development Bank. 5th, Sri Lanka Savings Bank. 6th, Sanasa Development Bank. Now the one student asks about the Sanasa. You are referring to the Sanasa Development Bank? Yes, then yes, they are covered. But our Sanasa කියන්නේ පුතා අර තවත් ඒවා තියෙන්නේ අර පොඩි අර සමීති සමෝපාකාර not covered under this. So for Sanasa Development Bank comes under Sri Lanka Specialized License Specialized Savings Bank. Okay, Buddha, I have answered the question.
Yeah, another one more question. If they cancel any license of that Sanasa bank,
Yeah.
so if I don't know whether they have the 600,000, that's 1.5 million deposit something.
Yeah.
So if they cancel any license, so is there any possibility to get the 600,000?
Yeah, because this is nothing to do with Sanasa no Buddha. This is given from the fund. එහෙමද? ඒකනේ ෆන්ඩ් එකෙන්නේ මේ සල්ලි දෙන්නේ. ඒක තමයි මං කිව්වේ. Can you remember I told you? Right? I told you. Now I ask from you whether the Sri Lanka Central Bank is liable to pay 600,000. I asked from you, no? ඒක Central Bank එකෙන් ගෙවන්න අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම බැඳිලා ඉන්නවද? What is the answer? I say no.
No.
Why say no? Because the central bank is paying from the available fund. If the fund is available enough, right, they can pay. Right? They say fund is not enough to pay all amount. අපි දු බැංකුවට එක ඔක්කොම ආඩායමට ඒව හරිද? Central bank එකට ගෙවන්න පුළුවන් ඔය ඔක්කොම. බැංකු තුනක් විතර නැගෙන්න ගෙවන්න බෑ. Why? Because they don't have such a money. So therefore, central bank is paid depend on their deposit balance. හරිද? එතකොට දැන් මේ මෙතන තියෙන්නේ මේක සල්ලි ගෙවන්නේ individual organization එක නෙමෙයි. ඒක ගෙවන්නේ පුතා once you pay 600,000 ඊට පස්සේ legal action අරගෙන ඒකේ assets ටික විකුණලා ඒ වලින් එන proceeds වලින් තමයි ඉතුරු ටික ගෙවන්නේ. Immediately හම්බෙන්නේ මේක තමයි. හම්බෙන්නේ නැති කමක් නෙමෙයි හම්බෙනවා. හැබැයි එතකොට අපි දන්නවනේ කම්පැනි එකක් වහපුවාම ගෙවන ප්‍රොසීඩ් එකක් තියෙනවනේ ප්‍රොසීඩ් එකක්. හරි අන්නේ ප්‍රොසීඩ් එක අනුව තමයි හම්බෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒව ගෙවලා ගෙවලා ඉතුරුනොත් depositorsලා හම්බෙනවා. Depositors are considered as a prime group, but it takes time. Why they want to appoint a liquidator? You want to sell these assets to the in the market. Then the proceeds only you pay. That also depend on the amount deposited. It can be divided small amount based on proportionately or whatever. Did I answer your question with that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right? Clear. Thank you. That is the way. So this is the way I'm happy even though I've taken some time. So I'm like to answer all these questions because so you are thorough, not only for the learning purposes. So it's benefited for your banking career. So some student comes or some neighbor comes and asks from you in a position to explain. නැත්නම් වැඩක් නැහැ අපි මේ බැංකින් කරලා නේද දැන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අද බැංකින් එක්සෑම් එක සමහරවිට රෙකග්නයිස් කරන්නේ නැත්තේ මේ මොකද දැන් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා you are IBS qualified banking qualified මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවම මෙලෝදියක් ගන්න. ඉතින් වැඩක් නැහැ නේද? ඒ හින්දා තමයි we want to develop you for a total quality bank, professional bank. For that you need to know everything. Right? දැන් මතක තියාගන්න අපි බැංකින් ඉගෙන ගන්නකොටත් පුතා I want to tell you මේ ඔක්කොම මේ වගේ කියලා දුන්නේ නැහැ ඇත්තම කියනවා. Right? So අපි තමයි මහන්සියෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්තේ. Right? Article කියවලා what you say sir, can you say that banks again කියන්නේ මොකක්ද පුතා? Sanduni, what the question you asked? Sanasa Development Bank. Right? Sanasa Development Bank, right? So that's the banks. Can you say that banks again? Okay, I will tell you. National Savings Bank, right? Then you say HDFC, Housing Development Finance Company. Then State Mortgage Bank, right? SMIB. Then you have a Sanasa Development Bank. And then you have a Regional Development Bank. A list of specialized bank. Okay, that's what I'm telling, right? So the list of specialized bank I'm telling: National Savings Bank, State Mortgage Bank, Housing and Development Bank, Finance Bank, HDFC, right? Then you have a Regional Development Bank we call RDB. Then we call Sanasa Development Bank. So then Sri Lanka Savings Bank. Sri Lanka Savings Bank. Harila. Okay, good. Right. Thank you. Now we move into another area. Okay, and try to learn Buddha, right? So this is the best way you need to learn, right? I have nothing in my mind. I'll tell you everything. අර ගුරු මුස්තිය මහගාව නෑ. හරි ඉතින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕන. පුළුවන් තරම් ප්‍රශ්න අහලා not clear areas ලැජ්ජ වෙන්න එපා. Right? We are here. I don't mind even though you are studying in English. If you are not clear in English, so please ask from Sinhala. අපි mother tongue එක සිංහලනේ. අපි සිංහලේ ඕනේ. ඉතින් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. Right? මෙතන ලැජ්ජා වෙන්න කවුරුවත් නෑ. අපි ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ ඉගෙන ගන්න. එහෙමනම් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න. Right? The moment you get everything to your mind, you don't want to study. Even for other subjects, you can answer. Right? Okay. Now we move it today. We are just continue till 12:30. So we have in between, we try to take a break. So I may try to cover all the T2 as well, right? I think T2 customer protection is there, and it is important, right? Not like HR. HR only you learn in financial institution management. Marketing only you learn at FIM, financial institution management, financial clients management. But these customer directions, customer protections and all, you may study in a different way at commercial bank, survey, license, non-financial bank, as well as law as well. So therefore, it is very interesting. Right, now let's look at the Banking Act directions of 8 of 2011, Customer Charter for Licensed Bank. Now, I'll already give you as a note a comprehensive customer charter. Right? If you need further study, please read that customer charter which I send you through form of Word document. Right? So it's fully covered. But I will try to summarize and tell you with some questions. Okay? Right. Now, first question I'm going to ask you. Right? Now, how many of you are bankers? Almost you are all are bankers. So just after A level, you are doing the banking. Now මට class එකේ මට අතුස්සලා අහන්න පුළුවන් නේ. Now I don't know how many of you are bankers and how many of you are not bankers, but doesn't matter. Now I'll ask from you the bankers. I'm asked from you the bankers. Right. When you get an appointment letter, if you get an appointment letter, now when you get the appointment letter, I'll tell you later on that. When I think you all are recently joined the bank, I hope, right? When you join the bank, you need to sign 2 documents once you accepted the post in the bank. දැන් බැංකෙට ගිහලා ජොබ් එක බාර ගත්තම ඔයා අස්සන් එකකට කරනවා. Right? අස්සන් දෙකක් ගහනවා මම ඩියුටි එක සම්බන්ධයෙන්. Right? එකක් තමයි. Can you tell one you have signed? Today we are going to learn sometime that because of your banker, you are dealing with other people's money. You know all the informations about Mr. Pereira's account. මේ මිනිහට මෙච්චර සල්ලි තියෙනවනේ ගිහලා ගෙදර කියනවා අම්මේ මපේ මාමට මෙච්චර සල්ලි තියෙනවනේ බැංකුවේ ඒ පාර මොකද කරන්නේ අම්මා ගිහිල්ලා මාමගේ ලෝඩ් එකක් ඉල්ලනවා අම්මා ගිහලා ඉල්ලනවා මාමගේ මල්ලි අයියේ මට රුපියල් ලක්ෂ දෙකක් දෙන්න. ඉතින් මාමා කියනවා අනේ මට නැහැ නංගි සල්ලි. සල්ලි නැති කොහොමද? ඔයාගේ මේ බැංකුවේ මෙච්චරක් තියෙනවා. අප්පා මාමා කොහොමද දන්නේ? මාමට උඩ යනවා. මාමා බලනවා කොහොමද මෙයා දන්නේ මගේ account එකේ තියෙන සල්ලි. මලා නේද? ඊට පස්සේ මාමට මතක් වෙනවා මගේ account එකේ ගැන විස්තර කියන්නේ නැත්තේ නංගිගේ දුව ධම්මා නඩුවක් දාපු ගමන් නංගි ජොබ් එක ඉවරයි. හරි නේද? So what is the document you signed once you accepted the job in a bank? How you call that? Don't know. Anybody can tell me? Duty of secrecy. Right? The confidentiality. Being a bank employee of the bank, you are not supposed to tell all the information to a third party. Otherwise, there is some exception. Right? So, we are job එක ගන්නකොට අස්සම් කරලා තමයි ගන්න. That is what you call bank confidentiality or bank secrecy. We are going to learn. So, you need to sign. Now, according to the new recruitment, when we join the bank, we have not signed this. The new students who join the bank also need to sign, apart from the secrecy, the customer chart. Right? Customer chart එක අනුව එහෙම නැත්නම් ගනුදෙනුකාර ප්‍රඥප්තිය අනුව එහෙම නැත්නම් code of conduct එක අනුව මම බැංකුවේ වැඩ කරමි. එතකොට two things you sign. One, banking act confidentiality. Under banking act 98 අපි එක පස්සේ ඉගෙන ගන්නවා 77 section 77, remember section 77, right? Banking Act 30 of 1980, section 77, you confidentiality. Second one, this was started in 2011 now. So for the students who joined the bank after 2011, it is there with the chart, with the secrecy. ඒකට අනුව මම customer chart එක අනුව ක්‍රියා කරනවා කියලා sign කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි join to ඊට කලින් හින්දා remember, so after we got another letter and saying we are compliant with 2011 customer charter, right? It's a mandatory thing you need to sign. All the employees in the bank need to adhere the customer charter, right? That's something you need to mind. Okay, what do you mean by a customer charter? So that means, as I explained to you, is a standard, key standards of fair banking practices. So customers, when they undertake transaction with licensed banks and provide guidance to the licensed bank to adopt a code of conduct. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ ගනුදෙනුකරුවෙක් එක්ක customer කතා කරනකොට ගනුදෙනුකරුවෙකුට බැංකුව deal කරනකොට there is a way of handling customer. Right? So by protecting the customer. So this is called customer charter. The charter also includes a set of customer obligations towards the licensed bank in the respect of stable relationship. Right. Now, what is the main objective of customer charter? Right? What is the objective of customer charter? Right? These are the objective of customer charter. What is that? Safeguarding the interest of the customer. So you need to, as an employee of the organization, you need to look after the interests of the customer first. Second, why customers charter is there? To build up the relationship. I told you, customer banker relationship must have a healthy relationship. The moment you lost the relationship, lost the trust and confidence of the bank. So therefore, it's not good for your bank. So customer charter make it bind between customer and the bank, right? Healthy relationship, because you never going to cheat the customer, right? You always maintain the secrecy of the customer information, right? Then only you can build up the relationship. අපි කියන්නේ අපෝ මේ අරයට නම් මොනවත් කියන්න බෑනේ රහසක් රැක ගන්න බෑ කීප ගෝණ ඉතින් කෙනාට කියනවා. So we don't want to have a relationship with those people, no? ඒ වගේ තමයි. Right. Third, improving the customer confidence in the banking sector. Through the relationship, we try to build up the confidence, and ultimately, what happens through the customer charter, it promote and ensure the stability of the banking sector or finance sector. Right? That is the main objectives of customer charter. Now, still no question asked, I think, to my knowledge, but the examiner can ask you, what are the main objectives of a customer charter? So you can put these 4 points. Okay, clear? Right? Why customer charter? Now, I want to tell you another important thing. Now, customer charter is like, it is 2 things. One, obligations towards the customer. Your obligation as an employee, your obligation towards the customer, as well as the obligations by the customer towards the bank. Right? Ada පොයේ දවසේදී ඔන්න මම පොඩි බණක් කියන්නේ. හරි. ඔතකොට ඔයාලට අවදක වෙයි. දැන් පන්සල් some of you may be Buddhist no? නේද? සමහර අය Buddhist නේ. Okay. Right? Okay. now මම ඔන්න පොඩි බණක් කියන්නේ අද පොයේ දවස්. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙනවා නේද බුදු දැන් sorry for other religious leaders, right? Students. ඒ බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ කියලා දිනවා දෙමව්පියන්ගෙන් දරුවන්ට ඉටු විය යුතුකම් සහ මොකද්ද දෙමව්පියන්ගේ දරුවන්ට ඉටු විය යුතුකම් සහ දරුවන්ගෙන් දෙමව්පියන්ට ඉටු විය යුතුකම් අහලා තියෙනව නේද? ඒ වගේ තමයි කස්ටමර් චාට්. ඒතර කස්ටමර් චාට් අතරදී මේ බෞද්ධ ධර්මය හරන්නේ. මොකද කියන්නේ? සේවකයන් බැංකුව විසින් බැංකුවේ සේවකයන් ගනුදෙනුකරුවන් යුතුකම් සහ ගනුදෙනුකරුවන්ට බැංකුවට ඉටු විය යුතුකම්. So therefore customer charter, remember, looking after both things. What is your obligations towards the customer? What are the bank? What are the customer's obligations towards the bank? So the questions can be asked in two ways. So therefore, we need to know the type of question the examiner can ask from you with respect to the obligations towards the customer and the obligations towards the bank, right? Right? Two things. Here we say the chart also includes set of customer obligation towards licensed bank, right? So we are going to discuss both these two. Okay. Now remember according to the customer charter, remember the directions, right? 8th of 2011 shall adopt a code of conduct based on the CC. Shall obtain written confirmation on adherence to the code of conduct from the current employees and all new employees. So you have to have a written confirmation. මම ඒකනේ කිව්වේ අර ජොබ් එක ගන්නකොට අස්සක් කරලා කරලා බාර දෙන එකක් තමයි. ඕගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැති ජොබ් එක ගන්නින්ද ඕක කියවලා බැලුවා නැහැ. නමුත් තියලා තියෙනවා. Now if you have not performed your job according to the code of conduct or the customer charter, so you have given obligations. So the bank can take actions against you, right? So usually the customer charter in your bank also publish in your website. If the customers ask those copies, so you have to give to them your customer charter, right? Customer is a king. Apita no the king neda. Apita no the king. Kana වෙලාවට එහෙම ආපුවම අපිට නොදකින් හැබැයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි කියන්නේ customer is a king කියලා නේද? Right. Okay. Let's look at it some more. Then අපි බලමු what are the rights of the customer? So what are the rights of the customer? එතකොට customer ගේ right එතකොට අපේ මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? Obligation. Customer ගේ අයිතිය අපේ වගකීම් වෙනවා. හරි නේද? Customer's right, our obligation. First one. Okay. Now the customer have the right to receive factual information and understand the financial product or services offered by banks in this regard. A certain product, a bank. Okay. Now it is a duty of customer. If the customers ask, I need some information about this product or this loan instrument or loan product or deposit scheme, you are supposed to explain or you are supposed to give all the information pertaining to that particular product. Remember, that has to be used your preferred language, the markets, right? එතකොට කස්ටමර්ගේ බැංකුව විකුණන්න තියෙන නිපැයුම් ගැන, financial product services ගැන, by providing adequate information about them, explaining their financial implication, their benefits, some drawbacks. So whatever the procedure to open an account, how to obtain a loan, how to procedure to open an account, what are the type of documents you need to provide to open an account, what are the rules and regulations, all things must give to the customer. It is a right of the customer. So it is an obligation of the bank towards the customer, according to the customer charge. Right? අපි බැඳිලා ඉන්නවා. දැන් මතක තියාගන්න දැන් හුඟක් වෙලාවට මේ වයසක එක්කෙනෙක් වගේ ආවොත් එහෙම ඉතින් වැඩකුත් නැති හින්දා මොන හරි ඉල්ලුවොත් අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? දැන් හුඟක් වෙලාවට ඉතින් අපි දෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් දෙන්න ඕනේ. කස්ටමර් දන්නේ නැහැ ඔය ඕනේ කියලා. නැත්තම් බල ලෙඩක් වෙනවා නේද? Right. And all remember අපි මේකට කියනවා මේ කස්ටමර් ඉල්ලන ડોකියුමන්ට් එකකට අපි කියනවා key fact document. අපි මේ ගනුදෙනු මොකක් හරි ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් ගැන ඉල්ලුවොත් right ඉල්ලන ડોකියුමන්ට් එකට අපි කියනවා key fact document. හුඟක් වෙලාවට අපි මේ key fact document එකක් අපි හදලා තියෙනවා brochure එකක්. නැත්නම් leaflet එකක්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි leaflet එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ brochure එකක් කියන්නේ ඒ විනුම සම්බන්ධයෙන් මතක තියාගන්න ලබා දිය තොරතුරු. එතකොට දැන් අපිට කියන්න බෑ මේ වගේ leaflet එක කොන්දේසි අදාළ වේ. Terms and conditions apply කියලා කියන්න බෑ. So whatever the documents you give, all the terms and conditions must be included. දැන් අපි TV එකේ දකින්න ad එකක්. දැන් ඔන්න TV එකේ ad එකක් යනවා. යටි යනවා ඒ නැත්තම් පත්තරයක පිටු කාලයක advertisement. There's a small half a page or quarter page advertisement in the newspaper. Or maybe it will carry some TV advertisement only for 30 seconds. Where you can't tell everything, no. Only 30 seconds. Then what you put? Kondesi adalavi. Right? Terms and conditions apply. Eva karanda bhaviki. Why? All the terms and conditions with respect to a particular product or service, you need to provide to the customer. Right? All the terms and conditions. Hangande bha. Right? Ek customer chart ekanu denno. Right? Onna customer avila hano mata only I can't speak Sinhala. I can't speak English. I can't speak Tamil. I need in Malaysian language. So are you bound to give? No. Right? Now the question is asking those brochures and leaflets and all these terms and conditions. If the customer asks, you need to give a preferred language by the customer. I mean, what is the preferred language by the customer according to the Sri Lankan law? Sinhala, Tamil, English. අපේ භාෂා තුනම රාජ්‍ය භාෂා. එතකොට ගනුදෙනුකරුවෙක් ඇවිල්ලා ඉල්ලුවොත් මේ brochure එකක්, leaflet එකක් දැන් සෙව්වා කියලා ඉංග්‍රීසි තියෙනවා. සිංහල නැද්ද? සිංහලේ වල Tamil English විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. හැබැයි තාම customers මේ වගේ දන්නේ තියෙනවා හොඳයි. හරිද? එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. ඊට පස්සේ customer can call central bank and tell you I'm going to this bank branch and I ask for the Sinhala copy. එහෙම නැහැ කියලා ඉංග්‍රීසි විතරයි තියෙන්නේ කියලා ඕනනම් ගන්න කියනවා නැත්නම් යන්න කියනවා. My goodness. Central bank can take actions against your bank. Remember that. එතකොට නැත්තම් ඒක කියන විදිහක් තියෙනවනේ shape එකේ කියන්න ඕනේ. Right? කොක්කට යන්න නැතුව. මේ වාසනාවට තාම customers ට මේව ගැන දන්නේ නැහැ. Right? On the first customer chart එකේ තියෙන වැදගත්ම දේ මොකද්ද? Anything the customers about your products, right? You need to provide. Usually banks are providing these are in terms of brochure or leaflets or whatever. So that document we collect, we call them as what? Key fact document. What is how you call that? Key fact document. Now let's look at it. What is the information you need to put in the key fact document? What means? Hello. Hello? Okay, right? So what are the key minimum information in key fact document you need to incorporate? One is your product description, whatever the services or product. Like we'll say, for example, service product. So say the features of this product, right? What are the benefits you can get it from this product? What are the charges or fees or interest you're offering for this product? If a lending product, you put the fees, charges, or so interest, deposit interest. So what are the commissions you are going to charge? Like that, right? And what are the procedures to be followed to obtain such a product, right? And what are the major terms of conditions of the product, right? So what is common complaint handling procedure available, right? මොකක්ද හදිසියෙන් complaint කරනවා නම් මොකක්ද කරන්න ඕනේ procedure. Advertisement shall contain all the factual information, right? When you put an advertisement, so you have to put correct information. And also remember the legal status of the bank. That means whether you are licensed specialized bank or licensed for your bank to carry out your businesses. Okay, so these are some of the information you need to put under key fact document, right? First thing. Now, this is the question. Now, see, that's what I told you. There may be questions can ask from 2017 March exam, 2017 March exam. The examiner asks from you, as per customer charter, what are the basic information that should be included in the key fact document? At least you put 5 points here. So you get 2 marks, right? But first question, it can go up to the long question, right? At least you need to put 2-3 points here. Descriptions of product, financial other benefits, fees, charges, procedure, major term and condition. If you put these 5, is more than enough. Or at least 3, at least to cover, at least to get some points. Right? So these are the key information you need to put. Right. So now again, we go on what are the obligations or what are the duties of a bank employee or bank. Now, remember, when you put an advertisement in the newspaper, right? All the banks, right? When you put the newspaper, there are some important points you need to put. You look at it all this very carefully, right? Those advertisements, whatever you put in the newspaper, cannot be misled. Cannot be misled by the public. Misled the public. මොනවාරි ගනුදෙනු කරුවන්ක වරද අවබෝධය යන්න. අපි කිව්වොත් එහෙම ලංකාවේ තිබෙන වැඩිම පොලිය දෙන එකම බැංකුව. You can't put things like that. හැබැයි National Savings Bank they say අපි තමයි රාජ්‍ය බැංකුව ඇයි ඒක ඇක්ට් එකේ තියෙනවා නිසා. right? වැරද්දක් නෙමෙයි ඒගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රොමිස් එකක්. right? දැන් වෙන බැංකුවකට කියන්න බෑ. Also think about that. Some banks, except for National Savings Bank, some banks say your deposits are fully guaranteed by the government of Sri Lanka. You cannot say like this. Why? Because it's not there. Even for Bank of Ceylon, even for People's Bank, they cannot say like that. Only National Savings Bank can say, because the National Savings Bank deposits are guaranteed by the government, not by the deposit insurance scheme, right? It is covered by there is no 600,000, whatever the amount we deposit with the National Savings Bank, you have irrespective of the liability of the same. That is given by the government. ඒක මිස්ලිඩ් එකක් නෙමෙයි. වෙන බැංකුව ඒකනේ කියන්නේ රාජ්‍ය බැංකුවක ආරක්ෂාව. රාජ්‍ය බැංකුවක ආරක්ෂාව කියලා රජය වග කියනවා කියන්නේ. In addition to all such advertisement, now there you need to put 3 things. Right? ඕනෑම ad එකක් ගියාම මතක තියාගන්න In every bank, you need to put your credit ratings. Your bank credit ratings. B plus B minus වශයෙන් තියෙනවා. බලන්න හොඳ ඇඩ් එක තියෙන්න ඕන. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එළිය. As far as the specific interest rate advertisement is concerned, you need to incorporate what? Can anybody tell me? If you put an interest rate ad, මොකක්ද අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඒ ad එකේ දැමිය යුතු කරුණ මොකක්ද? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me if you put an advertisement in the newspaper, what is the mandatory inclusion you need to put? Can anybody tell me?
Valid period?
No. ඒක වැඩි හොඳ එකක් අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තා. Double the account. මතකද? Interest rate එකක් දානවා නම් if you put an interest rate advertisement, it is a compulsory. You need to put what? You need to put some information. What is that? Can anybody tell?
Details. Contact details.
Yeah, contact details. Of course, you need to put. Right. Contact details. So your bank name is there. Therefore, it's okay. Okay, contact details not compulsory, but your rating is compulsory. What is the other one? If you compulsory, if you put the interest rate. Can you remember?
Annual.
Right.
I can't remember the word.
Right. Annual effective rate.
Rate.
Right. AER more. Very good. At least some students remember, right? Now it's a compulsory. I told you that time when you put an advertisement pertaining to the interest rate, you need to disclose AER. AER, right? Okay. W account. How can the bank put the advertisement for W account in 5 years? Right? එතකොට ඇයි ඒක confuse කරනවා customers ට ER එක දැම්මේ නැත්තා. Annual effective rate සපල පොලි අනුපාතය. When you put an advertisement about pertaining to the interest rate, remember you need to incorporate AER, that is as per your customer charter, right? Because advertisement cannot be mislead the general public. You have to clearly show why you need to put your rating. So then the students, the customers get to know what is the type of institution, whether it's a highly risky bank or less risky like that. That is why you asked to put ratings, right? Okay, remember that. Okay, so as I told you, the interest rate provided by the banks, right? Right, and there's another one. According to the customer charter, right? You can slowly read that entire customer charter lead, but I'm rating the key points. Now, how many of you are working in the branch? Most of you are maybe working in the branch bank, right? Okay, I'll now ask you a question. Now, there are some mandatory certain information you need to display in all your branches or maybe outlets or whatever you call it, through to the customers. Samara තොරතුරු දිනවා ගනුදෙනු කරුට පේන්න අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තිබිය යුතු තොරතුරු. Right? ඉස්සර අපි මොකද කළේ මේ වගේ අර හැමතැනම බෝඩ් වල branch එක ඉස්සරහා පිට කොළවල ගහලා තිබ්බා. දැන් එහෙම නෑ. Now you have electronic gadgets, so you have electronic monitors. Those monitors are run by all this information. Customer පැත්තට අරවලා දිනවා. සමහර ඒවා වැඩක් කරන්නේ නැහැ, but at least you need to show to the customer. Those are we call mandatory display in your branches. So what are the mandatory things you need to display to your bank? Yes, last Sunday I told you one. Can tell me what are the things now you remember your branch? What are the things you are showing to the customers? It is a mandatory. Who make it mandatory? By the central bank through the customer charter. Can anybody tell me what are the mandatory display branch need to put to show to the customers?
Ombudsman contact details and address, contact
No,
number and address.
the branch now, so when you come to a customer, come to a branch, you know his contact name. Me branch okay, I am not referring to the advertisement now. What are the things you need to disclose to provide information to the customer of your branch? And the contact detail එක දැන් ඔයාගේ අපි තුමා working in සම්පත් කියලා නැත්නම් මේ bank of Ceylon හරි කොහරි කියලා. Now the customer comes අපි දන්නවනේ මේක bank of Ceylon මොරල්ල branch එක. එතකොට ඒක ඇතුළේදී ඒක ඕනේ නැහැ. මොනවද පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ දේවල්. එකක් මම ගිය සන්ඩේ කිව්වා. මෙයා ගැන කියන්නේ
I'm saying about the ombudsman contact details. Ombudsman contact details.
ඒකම කියන්න එපා. ඉතින් මගේ contact details දාන්න පුළුවන්. හරි good. That is right. ඉතින් contact details කොහොම මම හිතනවා ඔයාගේද දන්නේ නැහැ කාගේද කියලා. Right. Okay, good. Ombudsman contact details. Very good. That is what I told you Sunday. What are other things you need to show? Now, branch you know, otherwise the central bank supervision department comes and can take actions against your branch. They won't tell branch, but they will inform to your head office. Right? There is a mandatory display. You can get a mandatory display. Okay. Contact details of the ombudsman. Hari. How අයියනේ ඕගොල්ලෝගේ branch එකේ මොකටද පේන්නේ? Customer
rating, exchange rates.
Exchange rates, good. Buying and selling rates, good. What is? What is?
Banking hours and holiday notices.
Holiday notices, good. Okay, Kali Wahana Dana is right, good. Okay, then what is? Opening hours, closing hours, right? What is? Now you learn three things. How are they? Exchange rate with the what are the
Lending,
Credit
lending
ratings.
rates,
what is?
facilities.
Yeah, correct. But that is you can give it in a key fact document. Now, certain things you need to display. හරිද එකක් තව දැන් තුනක් ඇයි ඔයා exchange rate විතරද තව ඒව මොනවද කියන්න ඕනේ නැද්ද
Credit rating of the bank.
Deposit rates, lending rates කියන්න ඕනේ interest rates, whether it's a deposit set and your lending rates, right? Okay, what else? ඔය ටික විතරද කියන්න ඕනේ credit rating. That also you need to show your branch, right? Not only the team advertisement, but within the branch also you need to show your credit ratings. What is? What is usually ombudsman name? තව එකක් display කරන්න ඕනේ. මොකද්ද? Your bank chairman photo. නේද මතකද ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වේ මගේ ෆොටෝ ගහන්න එපා කියලා බ්‍රාන්චස් වලනේ right එහෙනම් මොන ෆොටෝ එකද ගහන්න ඕනේ you need to show bank license දැන් ඔය ඔක්කොම ඔයගොල්ලෝ කොහොම ගහලා නැහැ දැන් ඕවා ඉස්සර අපි ගහුවා බ්‍රාන්ච් එක ඇතුලේ දැන් අර තියෙනවා අපි ගාව ටීවී එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රොනික ඕකේ පැත්තක යනවා ඒවනේ හොඳට බලන් ඉන්න බ්‍රාන්ච් එකේ ඉන්න ගම ඕවා තමයි ඔය මං කීරක තමයි යන්නේ right. Okay, ඉතින් කමහරු ඒක දිහා බලන් ඉන්න බැරි ඉඳ සමහර අය ටීවී එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා පැත්තකින් යන ওই information. සමහර banks වල getting all these advertisements යනවා. ඒකත් එක්ක මේක යනවා. So it's depend on the bank, right? Some banks are putting advertisement and then you put this information and go again advertisement like that. Okay, those are mandatory informations, right? Okay, let's look at it. Mandatory displays in banks, right? Display in head office and branches. Current interest rates on all products, lending and all, buying and selling rates of forex, foreign exchange, credit rating of the bank, contact details of the financial ombudsman and the credit counseling center. I will tell you what is credit counseling center later on, right? And banking hours and holiday notices, right? Display the bank license or any other relevant important things. So these are we call mandatory information. Clear? Okay, now you know what is the customer chart is telling about. Lot of things they are talking about, right? Okay, then another important things, right? Now the another important thing about the customer charter, now you noted them these days sometimes, and at the end of the counter, so you usually end of the quarter, you put a big advertisement in the newspapers, you know. Once you complete the first quarter, now last year, December, finish. You need to publish your annual account statement, 3 leading newspapers, English, Tamil, Sinhala, your annual statements, periodic annual statement, remember, in 3 leading newspapers. And also it has to be displayed in your branch also, according to the law is saying like that. Right? Eka branch එකේ අන්න ඒකත් අර finance එකේ දුවන්න ඕනේ. ඒව නැත්නම් central bank එකේ ඔයක නැහැ කියලා. Why? It show your financial positions about your organization to the customer. Right? Your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, you need to show at the branches, as well as you need to publish in the newspapers. ඔහොම දැකලා දිනේද ඉන්න පිටුවක් විතර කරන්න පත්තරේ ඉන්න ගානක් තියලා we need to advertise. That means we need to show you our financial position to customers. Once you complete the quarter, every quarter, now say December, then December ඉවරුනේ කවද්ද? December, January, February. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පෙනේ February 29 වෙනිදා ඉස්සෙල්ලා උගක් වෙලාවට නැත්තම් පත්තරවල තියෙයි මේ හිතනින්ද පත්තරවල දකින්න හම්බි සමහර අය already they put it in the newspapers, your financial statements, right? And now all this financial statement is a mandatory to publish in the newspapers, both Sinhala, English, Tamil, right? ඉස්සර මොකද කළේ එක එක බැංකු මේ statements මතක තියාගන්න එක එක විදියට හදලා දානවා. එතකොට general public cannot compare A bank versus B bank. එම්බුද ඒවාට account statements complicated කරලා දාන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. It is a central bank give the directions to the all the bank. You need to have a same format. එකම විදිහට දාන්න ඕන. එතකොට A බැංකුවේ financial statement එකක් කරා B බැංකුවේ financial statement එකක් ගත්තන් පස්සේ you can easily compare A versus B, Apple versus Apple. Apple එක mango compare කරන්න බෑනේ. ඒ වගේ තමයි. එතකොට easily compare. Therefore central bank has given a guideline how to put the financial information in the newspapers. Right? All banks adhere to that. And it has to be published once the quarter finish. Now we say March quarter finish. You need to put your balance sheet and the financial statement before May 31st this year. First quarter performance of your bank in the newspapers, right? And it is make it mandatory. Apart from that, so if you are dealing with the banks, if you are maintaining a savings account, or if you are maintaining a current account, or if you are maintaining a passbook account, or if you are having a credit card, so certain information you need to give to the customers, right? Either form of the passbook, or maybe in electronic form, right? Certain information. Now the credit card you take minimum payment required, neither, right? What is the interest you are going to charge? What is your credit limit? What is the late payment fee? All things you need. If you take the credit card statement, what are the things? If you take the current account statement, what are the things? Debit, credit. Passbooks, again debit, credit, interested, credited, withdrawal, right? All the information, whatever the form, you need to show to the customer. Here, this is also a mandatory. Right now it's electronic form, or otherwise you have to send through your email or whatever. Clear? Right? Right. These are as for the customer charter. Right. And also remember so many things according to the customer charter. So it is a duty of bank, your bank, to create awareness about your presence, your products, and develop the customers' literacy level, financial literacy. We are going to discuss what is financial literacy, why importance, and things later on. So it is a duty of your bank also to carry out certain financial literacy programs, educated the general public, right? Bank card. And also remember, ensure that bank staff, you working in the bank, and need to follow all these steps involving in your code of conduct, or that is in the customer charter. Right? Okay, right. And also remember, so I told you there are some things you need to show that under terms and conditions. Then our terms and conditions, mono other, right? What are the terms and conditions? So what are the terms and conditions for a particular loan? What are the terms and conditions for FDs? All things you need to show, right? What is the interest rate you are charging? What is the repayment period? What is the monthly installment as far as the credit is concerned? All the conditions, how you calculate your interest, all things you need to put under terms and conditions. Now, that is what you see, you sign, no, when you get a loan from a customer, from the bank, so many places we will give to customer to sign. If customer මේවා දෙයක් බලන්නේ හරිනම් බලන්න ඕනේ. ඒ ලියන්නේ මේ කියවා හොඳින් තේරුම්ගෙන අස්සම් කරමි. Right? We read very well and understood, then only sign. හොඳට කියවලා බලලා අස්සම් කරන්න කියලා අපි කියන්නේ. Right? Because all things are given terms and conditions. If customers ask for further clarification, you in a position to explain. If you ask in writing, you need to give him a writing. If it is not in your terms and conditions, but you are supposed to give your all the information to the customer, right? So especially for relationship officer of the bank, usually clearly explain to the customer of the terms and conditions, features of the product, right? If you ask the alternative, all things, what you're trying to make it easy for customers to take decisions, right? Provide information. Otherwise, what happens is always asymmetric information, right? Banks having only thing, but according to the customer charter, viewer requests us to provide all the information, right? And then that is why we give Kieva Bala Sankarami here, right? So whatever the documents, you can't take blank documents, incomplete documents. You have to say yes or no, at least not applicable. Hari monohane gahana kiya. මෙහෙම තමයි තියෙන්නේ customer chart එක, right? Okay, so any changes made by the licensed banks to the agreed terms and conditions, suppose we have changed, එතකොට අපි කියනවා ඒකෙන් දාන්නේ සමහර බැංකු උදාහරණ පොලි අනුපාත ඔබට නොදන්වා වරින් වර බැංකුව වෙනස් කළ හැක. So that also you need to communicate. ඒකට අපි එක දුන්නා. So bank say, so without prior notices, sometimes we have to change the relevant interest rate, like not for usually not for credit product, but at least for savings deposit rates, right? So bank have the right. ඒක කැමති නම් තමයි මම යන්නේ. ඉතින් මම අස්සම් කරනවා. අපි දන්න at the time of opening the account, right? There's a clause. Okay, so all things are legal points. So what are the things you need to put under terms and condition? So usually you put the terms and condition as I explained to you. So the bank charges, commissions, method of computing the interest, a bank procedure for receiving complaints and the resolution mechanism, right? And also remember, bank must practice the complaint procedure. If a customer wants to make a complaint, right, your customer charter tells what steps to be taken by the customer. So that of course you need to communicate to the customer. You must have a proper complaint handling system in your bank, right? Complaint handling system in your bank, right? So you see there are so many activities proposed by the bank. And suppose if you want to terminate the relationship with, if you want to close the current account, if the customer comes for premature withdrawal, in that case, what is the penal interest rate? What is the penalty you're charging? Everything you need to communicate to the customer. Customer is the king, remember, right? Okay, because of him only we live. So therefore we must treat them. So why customer charter? To protect customers. So what we are learning? We are learning customer protection laws and practices. So for that, what one thing offer? First we discuss ombudsman. Second we discuss financial deposit insurance scheme. Now customer charter. All things are there to protect customer from us, right? Banks, right? So please read. Now I don't want to explain all these things. Now that is why I give you all the information. Now remember how to open the account, the closing the account, how to maintain the account. Now some banks say you need to maintain a minimum balance of so much. My goodness. Then suddenly you open an account, say 10,000. Some banks say if you want to maintain savings account, you need to maintain at least in your balance, savings account balance, minimum of 2,000 rupees, for example. The moment this go down that, so they will charge. It will be debited from your account, right? Then you go say, I have not taken 250 rupees. No, why you deduct 250 rupees? Then you are telling because you are not maintained the minimum balances required 2,000 rupees as at the time of opening the account we communicated to you, and this is the information. Do you agree for that? Open too late. Okay, so there are so many things. So there are so many things you need to proceed, because if you communicate to customers, you cannot take actions against all these things, right? Okay, right? And also remember, we are going to discuss later on, it is our duty to send some suspicious transactions, all things to the financial intelligence units. I will explain to you at the last point, right? When you are discussing about other factors. Okay, now look at it, this question, Willie. Look at it, this question, right? So March 2017, right? Now, some of the things which I told you, you can record it and further study, or otherwise you can just thoroughly go through your customer charter which I gave you. Okay, look at this question, March 2017. The global financial crisis highlighted the need for effective consumer protection measures as consumers face more sophisticated and complex financial markets. The banking and finance industry in Sri Lanka has to take several measures to ensure consumer protection in financial literacy. Right on my past name. briefly state the items to be included. Briefly state the items to be included under terms and conditions associated with each product services offered by banks to its customers as per the customer charter issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Okay, now read this question. This question is September 2019. Now read links again. Protections of customer right is considered important with the ever-increasing threat to the financial system of the country. Answer the following question based on such protection schemes and control adapted. Control adapted. 5 marks. List 4 terms and conditions in relations to product and services offered by banks as per customer charter. List 4 terms and conditions in relation. That means what are the things when you're providing product and services, what are the terms and conditions, or what are the things you need to propose to the customer, right? This is September 2019. Then you look at it, this is a question, right? Okay, what are the services offered by financial ombudsman? You correct. Then so look at the second one. List 4 terms and conditions in relations to the product and services offered by banks as per customer charter issued by the regulator. Issued by the regulator. As per the customer charter. As per the CBSL. Now CBLS is the regulator. With the keep silence. Here they put the regulator. Same question asked over and over again. So then if a question comes like this, what are the things you need to incorporate? The things what we have discussed earlier, try to incorporate, right? Now best thing is what to do. Now when the questions come now, so you need to put question answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 then you keep it. So that's the answer. When you are studying, read only that question 3 times. I don't think it comes again. But even for January exam, 2017, 2019, 2021, the same question asked. But same things. Right? I think I have clearly explained to you what are the things the examiner expected from you. Right? Okay. Then, now say, before we wind it up for this, right, we will go and then finish it off today, right? Compensation from withdrawals and cancellations of product and service. Another important things, we learn a lot of things, banks' obligations, it's not so easy. So the bank's obligations are very much towards the customers, right? Compensation from withdrawals or cancellations of product and services. Then what the P2 now you started now a lot of banks are like this. Now at the highest interest rate regime, so banks have developed a lot of annuity schemes. That means, okay, if you deposit every month, say for an example, 1,000 rupees of say 25,000 or 9,000, they have a investment plan we call. Right, you deposit. So after 5 years, you are getting this much of money, and during that time, maybe the bank's prevailing standing deposit interest rates is little higher. Now, what is the today's context? What is the standard deposit facility rate in Sri Lanka? Now, I think you are learning commercial banking and survey. I think in today's context, you need to know what is the prevailing standing facility lending rate and standing lending facility rate prevailing in Sri Lanka. Can anybody tell me? Standard lending facility rate and standard deposit facility rate. That means repo and reverse repo, another name. Huh? Can anybody tell me what is the prevailing rate? Can anybody tell me, please? How much? Standard lending deposit lending facility rate. SL. How much? Right? Can anybody tell what is the rate? Facility rate, standing deposit facility rate, or sometimes, right? So standard facility lending rate or whatever, right? How much? Sri Lanka at the moment, right? It's very less, no? Around 4.5 to 3.5, right? Okay. So, so suppose now you have a scheme like this. So you are now when the interest rate is good, banks say they calculated based on 10%. Now interest rate has come down. No, can you give the same facility to the new customers? No, but can you withdraw the already you have opened such accounts? You cannot do. Right? So therefore, if you are going to cancel, remember, so you need to pay compensation for those customers. That is why in the event a licensed bank seek to withdraw or terminate a product or service already on contract, ඉතින් හුඟක් වෙලාට මොකද කරන්නේ අර ඒ අලුත් පරණයේ හැමම කන්ටිනියු වෙනවා. අලුත් ඇහැට වෙනස් කරනවා ස්කීම් එක. Right? Product or services, especially deposit products. Customers have the right to receive a reasonable time with an exit compensation scheme disclosed in advance. Right? So therefore, bank need to communicate to the customers if they are going to terminate such a product or services what we have offered. If they want to close, they must give a prior notice to the customers as well as must compensate adequately. The compensate they have to explain. Right? So the moment you open an account, you cannot say. For savings account, yes, you mentioned that it may be subjected to change of the interest rate. A certain annuity products, investment plan, so you need to put so much of money every month. Based on that only you benefits going to count. Even you must provide adequate notice to the customer and also need to get the concern from the customer. Only then you can do something. Otherwise, you cannot do. You think the bank also not, even though we say it's not so easy thing, no, only advantages of banks are having. What is that? Poor customers not knowing all these things. So customers customers are, right? But that's the chart to say. You cannot, right, cancel or withdraw the product and services. If you want to do that, which is already agreed with the customers, we must provide with adequate compensation. For that, also we need to inform customers well beforehand and take their concern. Okay, remember that. So the law is that, right? Okay, now the last part. Now, banks also have some agents. Some banks appoint agents to work behalf of the bank, right? Especially sometimes, especially for insurance, they appoint agents. But as we are talking about the bank, right? Banks also sometimes appoint agents, right? Remember, according to the customer charter, this is a very famous exam question. Now, this was happened. Remember these especially for insurance, there's a separate charter for that, right? So banks also appoint agents to collect debts and things like that, right? The customers have the right to know the details of agents appointed for customer service, right? So we need to tell who are our agents who work behalf of the bank. Now, remember, customer charter specifically advise the banks who appoint these agents. Now, who is going to appoint agents? Remember, agents are appointed by the banks. So therefore, banks take the responsibility, ensure that the appointed such agents to be behave in such a manner when you are dealing with customers. Right? It is the obligations of the bank. Right. Now let's look at it. What are the things according to the customer charter? Right. It's a very famous question. So many times this question asked by the examiner. Right. When first one, harassing customers. Harass karana salli ganna customers to wada karanna bෑ. ඒව තමයි තියෙන්නේ. නමුත් ඉතින් කරන්නේ එහෙමයි. Using abuse debt collection practices. Right? අපි දන්නවනේ මොකද්ද debt collection practices කරන්නේ කියලා නේ. Right. Disclosing customer information to others. ඒගොල්ලන්ටත් බෑ. Giving false or misleading information about product and services. අපි සමහරවිට අපේ බෑන්ක් ප්‍රොඩක්ට් විකුණන්න වෙන අය පත් කළාම ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා අරවා දෙනවා දෙනවා කියලා බොරුවට කස්ලම මිස්ලීඩ් කරලා account open කරනවා. That cannot be done. Unduly influence customers or the general public to buy or get involved in your bank's product. අනවශ්‍ය විදිහට influence කරන්න බෑ. මේක අර insurance word එකක් නේ. Undue influence කියන්නේ බලහත්කාරකම් කරලා මගේ බලය පාවිච්චි කරලා පොලිස් අපි කිව්වේ පොලිස් අය ටිකට් විකුණනවානේ. හිතමු ඒවට පොලිස් අයගේ ලොටරිස් මොහර එකක් ගහනවා පොලිසි වෙල්ෆෙයාර් සොසයිටි. එතකොට පාරේ යන කස්ටමර්ස් ටයිප් වෙන කාර් වල නවත්තනවා. නවත්තලා ඔයා මේ පාරේ හරියට ගියේ නැහැ. ඉතින් දැන් මම ගියා. මම ගියා. නෑ ගියේ නෑ. මොකද කියන්නේ? ඔයා දඩ කොලයක් කනවද අපේ මේ වෙල්ෆෙයාර් එකේ ටිකට් එකක් ගන්නවා. ඉතින් අපි අර වෙල්ෆෙයාර් ටිකට් එක කී රුපියල් 100යි. දඩ කොලි 1000යි කචල්. එතකොට මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි අනේ නම ඔයා ටිකට් එකක් ගන්න කියලා ටිකට් එක අරන් යනවා රුපියල් 100. එතකොට මොකද පොලිස් කාර්යය කළේ? Undue influence. So you cannot do banks to sell products like that. So unduly influence customers, right, to buy the product. And also remember, engage in getting any security documents signed outside the bank. Suppose your mortgage or whatever the items you have a security arrangement or the collateral arrangement with the bank, you need to sign it in the bank premises. You cannot sign your agent place or no. Engage in getting any security documents signed outside the bank, right? Most of the questions asked by the examiner, like what are the actions taken by the under customer charter to protect the customers from agents of banks? This is the answer, right? So harassing customer, using abuse debt collection practices, disclosing customer information to any others, giving false misleading information, and unduly influence to buy your product, engage getting in security documents signed outside the bank. Remember, all these, need to be careful of appointing agents of the bank, right? Okay, now these certain things, what to do, right? So you need to remember, right? You need to remember. And also I told you, the customer charter also have to have established in your organization complaints, measure and relief procedure. If a customer make a complaint, what action to be done, right? So ombudsman also, remember I told you, before you go to ombudsman, first you need to have a complaint to your respective problem organization. Now for that, you must have a system established in your bank. So that is the customer charter telling, or your bank must have a complaint procedure, right? So then you must have a clear complaint handling procedure. So, complaint over the done. And also remember, the moment the customer complains, it is your bank need to acknowledge your complaints. If you work, right? Because you have to say, we have received your complaints. Our officers were taken care about your this thing. And sometimes they say, within 7 days, if you are not getting any information, any feedback, please call this number. Right? Contact details of specific officers who are going to handle the complaints. Then sometimes you may have a separate room for place for complaints like that. So you may have a separate well-established complaint measuring system in your bank to be established as per the customer charter. Okay, customer charter. And also remember, a last point here is what you call special attention and care. So the customers such as elderly, disabled, sometimes now we won't say disabled, no, specialized treatment required or something like that. Right, disabled or customers with low financial literacy have the right to receive special attention to facilitate them to have a fair access to the banking service. That is why we have a ramping facility. You see, when you go for your bank, you have like supermarkets. When you go to the caves and all, you have a ramping team, trolley. But for banks, trolley. So what is banks? Banks are roller, chai. So all the banks must have a, if you have a stepwise to guide to the branch, you must have a what? You must have a ramping facility. Now, even for you come for a IBSL head office, so see there's an entrance and there's a separate entrance, right? Ramping entrance. So that means people who are having a disabled or some problem, they have come with a wheelchair. So you must have. And also remember, the new building, you cannot have a washrooms without having the disabled washrooms, toilets and all, right? So banks also must care by special attention. Now, how banks provide special attention to the customers, like elderly people having financial, improve their financial literacy, educate them, come up with specific counters, special counters, right, for elderly counter like that. And also must have specific financial product catering to the senior elder people, high facilities. And this year's question, this year's one of the question in 2000, your last day exam, one question is, when you're developing a product for senior citizen, what type of factors you need to take into account? Right, when you develop a financial product for senior citizen, elderly people, what type of factors you are taking into account when you're developing a new product? We will discuss on the marketing later on, right? Okay, so this is what we say, pay special attention to customers of special needy people, right? Okay, so these are the obligations towards bank, right? So customer charter is very broad thing, remember, right? So banks need to follow all these things. How banks is implementing these things? Through the employees. Now, who is going to do all these things? The employees, right? So therefore, special attention and care, another area the banks give. These are the duties and responsibilities of customers, right? These are some of the duties and responsibilities of customers. Clear? Right? Okay. Right. Now these are duties of banks towards the customers. Now I told you this customer charter also two ways. One is attentions towards customers or duties about your customers, and also next one, customer obligations towards bank. Let's look at it now. What are the customer obligations towards bank? Some of the obligations you may learn on your law. The students who follow in law also must learn this. Right, first one. Okay, what is the first one? To exercise due care in all transactions. Now, when the customers are do transaction with the bank, it is a responsibility of customers to due care in all their transactions. Very famous case in the law. We are not going to discuss about the law case, right? Mathadada check එකක් ලියනකොට wordings and lettering and the figures. අපි තුමු 100 ලක්ෂයයි. එහෙනම් අපි කියනෝනේ 100,000. ඒක හරියට ලිවීම කස්ටමර්ගේ වැඩ. Right? ඒ තියෙන අදාළ documents වලට අදාළ තොරතුරු නිවැරදි ලෙස පිරවීම. So to exercise due care in all transactions. This is a duty of a customer. Second, should not borrow beyond their repayment capacity. So, but it is a duty of a customer not to borrow from a bank beyond your repayment capacity. Should not borrow beyond their repayment capacity. Right? Don't borrow. Certain people are can you give me 500 rupees? It was he's become family in the bank also, right? So why is borrowing beyond their repayment capacity? So it is a customer's duty, obligation. Third, duly pay the loans and create healthy relationship with bank. Right? Whose money we give to the customer? It's the customer's money we give back again to the customers. So therefore, you pay only the dues that taken by you and can create healthy relationship. And then the relationship won't be here. So it is your customer's duty to pay the loans or charges or whatever conditions, whatever things you agree to pay, please pay. Right? Third one. Fourth one, complies with agreed terms and conditions. So because at the customer charter, can you remember we say we disclose all the terms and conditions to the customer. So it is your duty to compliance with compliance with the agreed terms and conditions. Right? Okay. Some of you may not married yet, no? At the time of marriage, we register කුසුමාවතී සමර්ථුන් ගෝන මම මාගේ භාර්යාව වෙස සලකනු අතර මම හොඳින් බලා ගන්නා බවට පොරොන්දු වෙමි. So that is your compliance with agreed terms and conditions once you sign your marriage certificate. Something like that. So you as a customer, you need to be compliant with the agreed terms and the conditions offered by the bank. Right. Okay. Now say, if you have some problems, so you are a good customer, right? You have some financial distress. You're not in a position to pay your installment, right? Maybe some problem. But it is a duty of customer to communicate these things to the bank, right? Go and tell them there's some issues. Please give me some time. Then the bank maybe relook at it, or maybe reschedule your loan. Maybe give some concession. It's up to the bank. Because of when you look at it, your credit worthiness and credit payment history, so bank can take a decision. So it is a customer's obligation therefore inform the bank about any financial distress he has faced. But it's not a willful default, right? If you have any problem. Okay, next. Duly inform the present address and contact details and regular update changes, if any. Suppose at the time of you open an account, you are here, now you have changed the places. My goodness, it is a duty of yours to inform the bank any change, address, or whatever the information to the bank. Next, notify the banks promptly for any fraudulent transactions attempts whenever they become aware of such instances. That means, right? It's a very famous case, right? I think you may know about people who are learning law. It's called the Greenwood case. Matakaini, the Greenwood case. Can anybody tell me about the Greenwood case? Huh? What is the Greenwood case? Fraudulent transaction, right? It is a duty of, now suppose you suddenly noted that from your savings account, somebody has suddenly mistaken the money. I mean, reduce your balances, right? Then you have to inform the bank, here, I have never taken the money, right? So I have last transaction done on such and such a day where I had around 100,000. Now, when I look at it from for this transaction, my balance is 50,000. I have never withdrawn 50,000. It is your duty to inform the bank, right? It's a very famous case, Greenwood. Wife for a sangahala mahatyagi check pottoling salli gatta. Iting husband mokada kale, husband meeting balua horas wife tamai me horas sangahala bankuwen salli ganne ඒ නිසා නිකන් හිටියා. ඔහොම ඉඳලා wife මොකද කරේ? කැහුවා ඔක්කොම බැලන්ස් එක අරන් අල්ලපු ගෙදර හිටිය කුසුමා මේ සෑම් එක පැනලා ගියා. Oh my goodness. එතකොට මොකද උනේ? හස්බන්ඩ්ට මැගලා හස්බන්ඩ් ගිහලා කිව්වා බැංකුවට ඇයි මේ මගේ අසල නෙමෙයි. That's a case for Greenwood case, right? කරලා ගියේ එක නෑ හොඳයි. So what happened? Then the bank said, are you aware about your wife has fraudulently signed your checkbooks? Then husband said, yes sir, I am aware of that. So then we said, why you are not communicated to the bank in such a cases? Now you come and tell once every money has taken. So it's a very famous case for fraudulent transfer. It is your duty as a customer to inform the bank if there's any fraudulent transactions are taking place or attempts may take by the instances, right? It is your duty. The last one. Now, shall not take any operational lapses of a bank as an exception for the fulfillment obligations to the bank. Operational lapse so for fulfilling your obligations, right? So now what happened? Sometimes the examiner may ask from you, what are only the customer obligations? Sometimes. So then you need to write these points. Simple. At least 5 points. To exercise due care in all transactions, should not borrow beyond their repayment capacity, pay any dues, loans, installments or charges or whatever you're supposed to pay, compliance with your agreed terms and conditions. If you have any financial stress, communicated to the bank. And so if you change your address, please communicate it. If somebody tried to fraudulently withdraw your money or do some attention, so please inform the bank. So these are customer obligations, right? Okay, I think you learned a lot. And mind you, recently, right? Recently, this is Bank Customer Charter. Recently, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka also decided to have such a similar charter introduced to the licensed finance companies and specialized leasing companies. Now, bank charter only for banks, right? But recently, in 2018, So the central bank introduced such a charter to the licensed finance company and licensed leasing companies, but they won't say bank charter, but they introduced new financial customer protection framework, right? Financial customer protection framework come effect from 2018, include the guidelines and instruction. The the financial constitutions need to be followed, right? So it's that also separate part, but we are not going to discuss. I think non-bank financial institution students need to be learn on this, right? Non-bank financial institution students need to know new financial customer protection act. So command, that is a bank chart. Financial customer protection framework, which is introduced in 2018, also a separate customer charter developed for LFC and SNC. Right. So that's the customer charter. Right. Now, one questions. Now, we say 2014, as banks and financial institutions conduct business for profit motive, and these institutions are also important for the financial system stability, right? So importance and welfare of the customer. So it asks you what are the important areas. Okay, now, right, if you want, just put down this before we go for break, right? So put down what are the key areas covered at the customer chart. What are the key areas covered at the customer chart? If you want, just put down what are the key areas covered under customer chart. Now, we learned so many things. So, what are the key areas? One key area you need. What is the key new area? Obligations by the customers towards the bank. One key area, right? Okay, let's look at it, right? And 2015 and 2018, the questions are describe the basic rights and obligations as per customers, as per the customer chart. Both asking, right? Here they are asking, describe the basic rights and obligation as per customer chart. So, the rights and obligation. But another question is asking, briefly list out as per customer. Customer obligation. Briefly list out the obligations of the customers towards the bank. So then you have to write only that, this part. Right? Okay. Next one. Clear? So what are the basic areas covered under? What are the basic areas covers under customer chart? Okay. Now I'll give you for next tomorrow, or not tomorrow, maybe for as a for the answer to that question. Okay, write down as a question. What are the key main areas? I will discuss with you the answer next week, right? What are the key specific areas, or what are the key areas covered on the customer chart? Try to write that down. What are the key areas? You can quote it from the tute I gave to you. What are the key areas? One key area is obligation by the customers towards the bank. What are the other key areas? You must have a complaint handling procedure. You may have a separate senior citizen handling procedure. Likewise, there are some key areas. Okay. So my question is for this examination is this: what are the key areas covered under customer chart? What are the key areas covered under customer chart? Okay, right. So now we have learned 3 important things in your T1. What is that? 3 things. Financial ombudsman, we discussed. These are protections, laws and practices under customer protection, right? What is the first one? Financial ombudsman. We discuss financial insurance scheme, and now we discuss customer charter, right? What is customer charter? All the employees of the banks need to adhere. It's a legal obligation, right? Employees of the, because we have to sign once you get the appointment letter. So we are practicing customer charter. Then the second one we discuss the second one. What is the second one we discuss? The second thing we discuss, what are the obligations toward the customer, right? And so many things we learn, right? And the obligations of the customer towards the banks, right? So what are the mandatory displays? What are the terms and conditions? Then what are the things you need to incorporate it in the key fact documents, right? These are the things you need to under obligation. Okay, right. So have any questions before we go for break? Any questions whether you understand? Okay, please, I need a feedback from you, Buddha, before you go for break. Now, last week, Sunday, there are some students asked about, sir, we want to go for mosque and all, right? So, you can go to mosque and come. I don't think so. We will continue, but don't worry. You can watch the recorded versions, right? So I need to continue with that. So you please go to mosque, but you can follow up with the recorded version, right? Any questions, Buddha? Any questions? Understood or not about the customer chart? I need a feedback, Buddha. Okay, right. I got some points. Right. Okay, clear. I got two messages came from chat. Right. Understood. Okay, clear. So then we are going to continue with the customer charter. With the customer protection comes under T2, right? And that is also a very important area we are going to cover. So therefore, please join with me. What time you can come? Now is 10:40, you know? Okay, 11 o'clock? It's okay? 11 o'clock is okay for you? How is it? Okay, right. So we will see you on 11 o'clock, right? We'll see you on 11 o'clock. Have a break, Prashit, and we are going to discuss the T2, right? Further strengthen the protections laws of the customers, right? And practices. Okay, let me start now after the break. So we move into the tune number 2 today. So the balance part, that the remaining in clients, I will do it right once I complete this session. Right, then we move into the T2. So yeah, we are going to discuss about the customer protections. Right, customer protections in the subject very interesting as well as good for others, other areas as well, as I told you. Okay, now before we start the customer protections laws and practices in last Sunday, where we have mentioned that why we regulate, right? Why we regulate. There are 4 main reasons we explained. One is to protect consumers, protect customers or protect consumers. to maintain the soundness of the financial institutions, right? Why we need rules and regulation and practices, why we need to protect. Then we discussed to maintain the stability of the financial system, and the last we discussed to obviate or reduce the criminal activity concerning the money. These are the 4 areas we are going to discuss all these things. We started with to protect consumers, to protect customers, and we discuss the 3 things. What are the 3 things we have learned in details? One is financial ombudsman, financial deposit insurance scheme, and the customer chart. So there are some more things you need to understand under this is what you call a financial mis-selling, right? So you are not supposed to mis-sell the product. So we discuss what is financial mis-selling, and then in order to prevent financial mis-selling, what are the regulations prevailing locally as well as internationally? Then what do you mean by a customer education? Then what do you mean by the financial literacy? And we discuss financial inclusion. So many important areas, and we are also going to touch under financial mis-selling, right? Then again we are going to discuss about, if possible, we are trying to cover it today itself possible. So what is a bank's duty of confidentiality? And also we're going to discuss credit counseling center. Now these are the things we can do to protect our consumers, so protect our customers. Apart from the above 3, charter, ombudsman, and deposits. These are the 3 main areas you need to learn, but we need to learn another 3 important areas, right? Financial mis-selling. What is financial mis-selling? How to avoid that, right? Third, bank's duty of confidentiality and the credit counseling center. Then after that, we may move into to maintain the soundness of financial institution. What action you can take it for maintain the soundness of financial institution, right? So let me look at it now. The first one, it is what you call what is meant by a financial mis-selling. Now, what is financial mis-selling? What is financial mis-selling is all about, right? Now remember, financial mis-selling is basically, can say, it's a sales practice in which a product or service is deliberately mispresented or a customer is misled about the suitability. It's called a financial distress. So what is financial mis-selling? Financial mis-selling is simply we call them as using deliberately misrepresented or misled the customer and try to sell the product is without telling his suitability to the customer. He's trying to sell a product to the customer, is what you call financial mis-selling. And also you can say financial mis-selling is whereby you have been sold a financial product that was not suitable for your needs, right? Anawashya deya api balenge age gahana. So that is financial mis-selling, right? Financial mis-selling, we can say sales practice in which a product or service is deliberately mispresented or a customer is misled about its suitability, as sometimes we call financial mis-selling, is whereby you have been sold a financial product that was not suitable for customer at all, which not fulfill your need. That is what you call financial mis-selling. Why financial mis-selling? Why people do mis-sell, right? So it can be due to various factors. One, how can you do that? Aggressive, ignorant or incompetent sales tactics. We have not provided proper information to the customer, right? Or maybe it can happen due to failure to appropriately advise the customer, right? Right? As well as you can say deliberate strategies to sell financial services customers do not need. So maybe because it's a strategy, we are not properly communicate or misled sales tactics, right? So one of these three things, that is financial mis-selling. Then why financial institution try to do the mis-selling? There are several reasons. The employees, right? One factor is the sales of the services generating the highest commissions are encouraged. Now, suppose your remuneration, sometimes your salary remunerations are depend on because of the sales you have generated or commissions you have generated is made responsible for people to mis-sell, right? And also because of that, agitating maybe customers to repurchase new products. Sometimes if the customer is little agitating to repurchase, you may try to do the mis-selling, right? Second factor called due to HR practices. What you mean by HR practices mean basically when you are recruiting the people without checking their integrity checks, people be recruited to generate leads from their family, right? So that means because of the recruitment problem, so without checking the integrity checks, so it maybe come from the genetics. They always try to mis-sell. So this normal practice. Third point, the customers were exposed to risk which were not understood by them, and the purchase of many financial product services had them to life-suffering implications, and in some cases suicide. So that means people, because of misled by the sellers or the bank official or the bank marketing people or marketing sales people or the branch staff, right, may enter into certain contracts without disclosing without telling the risks of involving or buying this type of product. So you may suffer. So sometimes you try to mis-sell. So it go up to the suicidal level. Mis-selling visa, financial mis-selling visa. Okay, so what is the repeatedly in many countries, you see there are a lot of financial mis-selling is illegal thing. So in the financial sector, if you try to do mis-sell, so lot of organization may subjected to lot of fine for employees as well as the employer, and also they lost their reputation. If you try to mis-sell, once you get to know, it is spread out of the world and spread out in the your country, and then it's loss of reputation, right? And in some cases, the customer redress. So customers are very disappointed, and therefore remember, as a result of that, may cause significant losses for clients and customers for your bank. Right, the rumor is spreading from mouth to mouth, and there may be a real repercussions about the financial mis-selling. So, how to avoid about the mis-selling? Right, the most important thing is the customer education. So we need to educate the customer how to select the best product. What are the factors you need to look at it when you're going for open a savings account, or what are the factors you need to look at when you're going to open take a loan and things like that, right? So you need to, education is the important thing. Now let's look at it. What actions taken by the Sri Lanka regulatory bodies to prevent financial misery or deter financial misery. Now, I think we are going to learn. There are some regulatory bodies will look after the financial area. So, in the insurance business, which comes under the financial sector, regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka. So they are the key regulator of insurance companies, and they have taken steps to with regard to the customer protection by way of enlightening them to with literacy materials. They provide some informations about the customers, know more about insurance, and again the insurance, we have a insurance ombudsman, right? So, and we try to through regulatory body who govern the or control the insurance business, come up with some initiatives to protect the customers, but giving deterring financial misery. And also the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, as the regulator of banks and finance companies in Sri Lanka, and also have customer protections by way of issuing customer charter, conduct various financial literacy programs. All are facilitated to educate the customer and to deter financial misery. These are the three main bodies. And the fourth body is, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, Securities and Exchange Commissions of Sri Lanka, which govern the unit trust, credit rating agencies, stock market and all, so which also initiated with lot of brochures, leaflets about how to invest their shares and what is secondary market. A lot of even for very recently they have conducted the TV programs like share issues competitions among the schools, and conducting the seminars in the schools and the universities to educate the general public about the security market in Sri Lanka. So the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, also another regulator, so may also come up with a lot of initiative to avoid financial misery, especially for insurance. They have given a lot of guidelines for insurance people when they are going to sell the insurance product to the people. There are some regulators will looking after all these aspects. So those are, we call them as there are some Sri Lankan or regulator, what action they have taken to control the financial misery. Then not only Sri Lanka and also internationally, there are some lot of laws and regulations imposed by those respective regulatory bodies in the world, especially for USA consumer financial services. So that's a specific regulatory body in USA. We look after the financial customer protection, and they have come up with Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? The body who will look after this financial misery. Then in the UK and the Financial Services Act Authority, also they are to looking after these financial misery. So what I want to highlight here, in not only in Sri Lanka but in other countries also, there are some authorities or regulatory bodies will look after avoiding respective financial institutions to do some mis-selling, right? So what we discuss about here about the bodies, what you call to avoid mis-selling, right? Avoid mis-selling, right? Apart from these things also, we have Banking Act 30 of 1988 and Consumer Affairs Authority, Consumer Credit Act. Also, there are some acts prevailing in Sri Lanka will look after the safeguarding the activities of financial institutions to protect the customers, right? There are some acts, some practices, Consumer Affairs Authority, but a lot of people thinks the Consumers Affairs Authority only for consumer, like food, vegetables, coconut, and food items. No, remember the Consumer Affairs Authority have the right also to protect financial customers also. A lot of people are not aware, right? If you really read this Consumer Affairs Authority Act, that Act also provide a protection for financial customers as well, right? And Banking Act, of course, is there for looking after the customers, but also Consumer Credit Act also protect the loan taken by the customers. So all act in prevailing in Sri Lanka are look after the well-being of the financial customer from these unscrupulous people, right? So there are rules and regulations are there to protect customers, right? Okay, let's look at it now. Further strength. The questions came in March 2019. The question is asking from March 2019. Question number 1, 2 months. So, what is financial misleading? So, of course, then a simple answer you need to give. Financial misleading is a sales practice in which the product or service is deliberately misinterpreted, or financial whereby you have been sold a financial product that was not suitable for you or for your need. So that is financial misleading. මට අනවශ්‍ය මූල්‍ය උපකරණයක් මට විකිණීම තමයි අපි කියන්නේ financial misleading. That's the answer, right? You can select one of these two answers. What is defined by financial misleading? So that's the answer for two. Now, how to avoid that? What actions the regulators has taken? Then you have to put Central Bank of Sri Lanka. What are the laws covering the misleading? Basically, protections of certain laws also covering this. Now, one thing you can do, even for customer charter. Can you remember customer charter? We learned one of the job of a financial institution is to conduct financial literacy programs or customer educational program. Thereby, people get to know about what is financial products, what are the features we need to look at it. So people not getting to the financial mis-selling track, right? So what is customer education? You know, this was very importance of customer education came consequent to the recent global, you can't say now recent, but it's due to the global financial crisis of 2007, 2008, 2009. So they have realized financial literacy and the financial education are receiving increasing attention the worldwide, right? You know, in a lot of people in Sri Lanka, the financial educations or the literacy levels are very low. We will discuss little later on some information. So the financial education, therefore, can be viewed as a capacity building process, right? So it is a capacity building. What is in terms of capacity about the financial literacy and well-being? How you take some quality financial decision making, right? For that, we need to educate. We need to provide information, right? And also remember, financial education play an important role. And let's look at some of the benefits can arise from financial education, right? The more financially literate population, as I explained to you, as I told you, can take proper decision on investing in financial products or services. They know what products will be high return, what products will be high risk, like that. So education will facilitate for you to take a correct decision, right? As well as a literate population. It is very difficult to cheat, right? If you have financially literated, so population is unlikely to be cheated by person. So therefore, remember, you can't just sell unsuitable product for to earn more commission. We discuss about what is financial selling, no? The product sold to the customers without disclosing, or which is not suitable for them, just because of because people are unawareness. Now, financial literacy, remember, also if you have more financial literacy, remember this, right? If you have a more financial literacy, so that means you are very well known. So therefore, your complaints also high. Why? You know everything. Otherwise, you won't complain, right? So if you know your literacy level is very high, you know the complaint. You can, you know, where the customer, where this organization try to cheat, where your organization try to cheat you. So you may have a lot of complaints comes when the financial literacy level is high. Right. So therefore, the better financial education also for our households, especially for SME entrepreneurs, right, and can reduce this financial stability risk, right, and also probability of loan defaulters by, especially for SME and the general public. And they need to understand the defaults of a loan, how it impact you as well as the others. So therefore, remember, so you have a better retirement literacy. So you will improve the retirement planning and preparation for old age. Now itself, if you're going to, you know, one day you're going to be a senior citizen, and if you are working for an organization where you won't get any pension, so therefore now you need to plan for tomorrow, right? You know, important what type of product you need to invest and things like that, right? So those are some of the benefits you are going to get it through financial education, right? And then we discuss about the financial literacy. Now, financial literacy means it's simply called the general awareness or understanding about customer on what? About the financial transactions, what are the risks involving, what are the returns of the transaction, what do you mean by a financial market, what do you mean by instruments, financial instruments, its benefits, and etc. and etc. Right? That is financial literacy. Now, good question. Now, I'm asking you a small question from you, right? I need to support from you, right? By giving answers, then only it's become fruitful. What is the literacy level in Sri Lanka? Can anybody tell me? What is the Sri Lankan literacy level? What percentage? If you take 100 people, how many people can read and write in Sri Lanka? In that sense, it's a very good country because of our education. What is the percentage of Sri Lankan literacy level? Can anybody tell me?
91%.
Yeah, around 90-odd%. So 91, 92%. That means if you take 100 people, 92 to 93 people can read and write. So it's a very good achievement. That is the usual literacy. But what is financial literacy? I told you. The financial literacy means basically, what do you mean by a financial literacy? It is basically the average persons, usual persons, general awareness and understanding of financial transaction methods, the risk methods, the returns, and about the knowledge about the financial market, financial instruments, their benefits, and all that we call them as the financial literacy. How much you think in Sri Lanka? What is the percentage? Now you say it's around 90 odd percent. What is the percentage of in Sri Lanka in terms of financial literacy level in Sri Lanka? Can anybody tell me what percentage? Whether it's 70, 80, 90 or less than that or more than that? Can anybody tell? What is the percentage? Guess. 50, 70, 80, wow, 90% literacy level, reading and writing. So financial literacy means, again I told you, the financial literacy means the general awareness about the people, about the financial transaction, cost involving that, financial market, financial instrument, सामान्य පුද්ගලයෙකු මූල්‍ය පද්ධතිය, මූල්‍ය උපකරණ, මූල්‍ය ගණදනු, මූල්‍ය තිබෙන වාසිවල සාමාන්‍යයෙන් තිබෙන දැනීම. How much you think in Sri Lanka? Any guesses? Come with that. Any guesses? Right. Somebody said around 35%. I have given. Yes, something called is around 35%. Exactly correct. Right, around 30 or 35%, 30 to 35%. I got the correct answer. Around 30 to 35%. Sri Lanka. Very good. Right. I need good students also. Right. Right. I need the ඔගොල්ලෝගේ කතාව දන්නවනේ කච්චු මොකද්ද අහලා තියෙනව නේද ඔයගොල්ලෝ පොඩි කාලේ මේ කේජු කපුටේ කතාව ඒ වගේ තමයි මමත් හරි ආසයි ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ ස්වීට් වොයිස් එක අහන්න right chat වගේම ටිකක් call mute unmute කරලා කියන්න right doesn't matter. Okay, then so the around Sri Lanka is around 30 to 35%. That means, so even though our literacy, normal literacy, reading and writing abilities are around 90s, but you see the financial literacy level is very much less. So that means we have to do a lot of things to educate the customer, to improve their financial literacy levels, right? And that is why when we discuss the customer charter, right? Remember we mentioned that it is one of the duty of the financial institution to create awareness program to develop the financial literacy of the general public. That is the objective, right? Okay. So what is finance is in ability to make an informed judgment and effective decision about the use of and management of money. So it's very important, right? So it is very important again, the required skill to run your businesses, well-being of individuals and the community. And also remember, if you know about your financial literacy, it is very difficult to cheat by the organization. So thereby it facilitates to avoid mis-selling, right? Financial literacy, so therefore is vital for customers and financial institutions to reduce transaction cost and improve the efficiency, right? That is the another important area about the financial literacy. And there's okay, now this question, good question, but it's very tricky. The first exam, you know, the new syllabus exam started in 2014 September. The first question came: the improved financial literacy of customers may not necessarily facilitate. What may be the answer? But we have to read this question. Is another very fantastic question, right? The improved financial literacy of customers may not necessarily facilitate. What may be the correct answer? This is your exam 2014. The improved financial literacy of customers may not, right? May not necessarily facilitate. Can any guesses? What's the correct answer? A, B, C, D. Very smart question, right? Improve financial literacy. I told you, if you improve your financial literacy, right, very difficult to miss it, right? And also, if you have a knowledge, they may have a lot of complaints. They will ask so many questions. You cannot cheat, right? On that ground, if you really look at what may be the correct answer. Right? Now say improved financial, not facilitate. Sales delivery of financial product by banks and financial institution. It facilitates, right? Out of this, what may be the correct answer? You any guesses? Can tell me any guesses? If you say A, B, C, D, what may be the correct answer? Huh?
A.
Huh? I didn't get at you. A, the B, the C, A, the B, the C, the D. The. Not facilitate. Huh? May not necessarily facilitate. It facilitate me. I says A facilitate. Why? Sales delivery of financial product by bank and financial institution. But if the customer understood the sales offered by financial products which give high interest, which give better returns, less risk, then people try to go, no? Right? May not, but they may not facilitate. So next, less complaints of mis-selling of products by banks and financial institutions. So if you know the customers, high level of customer literacy, what is usually getting? Less complaints or high complaints? Huh? අපි කියන ඕවා කීපන් කොණ්ඩේ බැඳ පුචි නුන්ට නේද අපි ඉස්සර කියන්නේ ඔය මට ඔය බොරු කියන්න එපා මම හොඳට දන්නවා so ඇයි එහෙම කියන්නේ බොරු කරන්න ආවම අවු වෙනවා so මම කියනවා ඔයා හොර වැඩ ඔක්කොම මම කියනවා why because you are aware, right? So the okay, without time consuming, the answer is less complaints. Answer is B. Now why B? If you may not necessarily facilitate, right? Facilitate high complaints, right? Less complaints than now. If you literacy well-being, you are more complaint. But you why? Because you are more have a knowledge about the mis-selling, right? So therefore, not less complaints, but should be high complaint. So therefore, answer is P, right? If you are more literate, you have a high complaints, right? Okay, this is the answer. Answer is B. I know it's little, you have to think very carefully to give this answer. Okay, right. Then again, the questions come in September 2015, right? I'll put it like this. What is meant by digital financial literacy? Can anybody tell? Now we know what is financial literacy. But what is the digital financial literacy? Can anybody tell me what's the answer for that? Digital financial literacy means? So a person, average person, knowledge about familiarizing the use of the cards and electronics payment methods in business. So that is what we call digital financial literacy. Familiarity in using cards and electronic financial transactions is called financial literacy, digital literacy, right? What is meant by digital financial literacy? Now, sometimes there's something, the certain average, I mean, what you call the common sense, you need to use it, right? Certain things. If you know the financial literacy, so they put digital. So digital means something you know about how to use the credit cards and how to use some electronic transactions. So that is financial literacy. Okay, so digital financial literacy means familiarity in using cards and electronic financial transactions. right? Through internet bank, example can say internet banking, mobile banking operations, ATM operation, machines operations, when you deposit them, all are to what level the customers have a knowledge about using electronic financial transactions. Okay, I think you understood. Then another important thing is what you call a financial inclusion. Financial inclusion. Now, financial inclusion is simply called, it is a delivery of financial services at an affordable cost to the vast sections of less privileged and low income group, right? That is financial uh, literacy, financial inclusion. Financial inclusion or inclusive financing is the delivery of financial services at an affordable cost to sections of the disadvantage of society, or that means vast sections, the less privileged and low income group, right? So you noted that the financial inclusion, we talk about the availability, awareness, accessibility, affordability, and adequacy. Remember this, which consists of 5 A's, right? What is 5 A's? Availability of financial products, then awareness about the financial products, accessibility of the financial product, get close, affordability of the financial product and services, and adequacy. So all are 5 A's of financial inclusion. Now, according to the World Bank estimate that around the world population of 1.7 billion adults, roughly 1/3 of the world adult population of 20 are unbanked or underbanked. Right. Now remember, so is the world population. Okay, now if I ask you a small question, what is the total population in Sri Lanka? Roughly? What's the total population? This is your target market now. What is the Sri Lankan population? Come on. Huh? Around 20.2 million, right? Okay, what is the world population? Latest information. Can any guesses? Huh? What is the world population? It is 5 billion, 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion, 10 billion. What is the world population as of today? Average roughly? Any guesses? Then the Mata Kambeli. We don't want to not to know only the banking customer services. We need to know what is happening in the environment, right? What is the world population?
7.8 billion.
Correct, yeah.
7.8 billion.
7.8, yeah, it's now is something around 8 billion. Okay, good, right, good, very good. That's what we need. We need to. So you if you are smart enough, right? If you smart enough, you can just think about 1.7 billion adults covered only 1/3. Then what is the full, right? Arithmetic, right? This is what certain information you can gather from the statements. අපි පොඩි කාලේ මතකද රචනාවක් කොපියක් දීලා ඒ රචනාවෙන් ප්‍රශ්න අහවම ඒ රචනාවේ තමයි උත්තර දෙන්නේ. ඒ රචනාවෙන් තමයි we need to answer. This is type questions. Can you remember we did at the very small age, right? So the again world population is around roughly around what you say is correct. This sum now is reached to 8 billion, right? That's the world population. Now they said around 1.7 billion of that also roughly is not having any bank's product. Right. If I ask you another small thing now, in Sri Lanka, what is the penetration? People who have in the accounts, the Sri Lankan population, what is the percentage? Can anybody tell you a guess? ලංකාවේ මේ penetration level එක කීයද? ඒ කියන්නේ ජනගහනයෙන් 20 ගානේ accounts කීයකට වගේ තියෙනවා? percentage question got how many percentage the in the totality in Sri Lanka. Can anybody guess us? I think we then mama ළඟදී දැක්කා one bank ගිහිල්ලා බබාලා ඉපදෙනකොටම account open කරනවා නේද? So you also do it. I saw a place as it is one. I don't want to mention the bank name, but it's okay. It's a government bank. Their GM and chairman has gone to one of the maternity hospital and offering open accounts. Right? Okay, so that means we also conduct then the Medasale and Corona in the. Can you remember we went on house to house, street promotion, Matakani school alert Anoa, Diwal Kani Anoa, Matakana. So why we went for open an account? Okay, so in that sense, all banks are going. So what is the Sri Lankan penetration level opening accounts? If number of 20 population 20 million lots. Any guesses? What percentage? But only problem is the literacy level is 35. But that doesn't mean you don't have an account, right? So how many? What is the percentage of penetration in accounts wise? No idea. Can any guesses? So these are the things as bankers we need to know, right? So that is why you say you can't think all these things in your handbooks or textbooks, right? It may be changing according to the FD. Some statistics available in FDIC that is around Sri Lanka around 85%, more than 85%. So that's a very good coverage, you know. But our literacy level is around 35%. But account reachable is little high, right? It is important. Now the financial inclusion means, so to what extent our general public are reaching some access to finance. If the financial inclusion is not good, that means proper financial sector not reaching the customers as far as the important fact the lending is concerned, all informal lending people approach customers and try to give more loans at a very unreasonable rate. So therefore, it is a duty of the banks to improve the financial inclusion. Now, how can improve the financial inclusion? Now, how financial inclusion in that case benefits the economy? How financial inclusion benefits the economy, right? So, because people are approached to more on proper financial institution, so they get used for savings and can obtain develop their develop their saving habits, inculcating the saving habits. So if you save for today and save for tomorrow, so they can properly plan in the future. And then they are protected by all these unwanted or unscrupulous credit lenders going for a high interest rate. Right, all will get benefited. Ultimately, it's contributing to the national economy, because why a lot of SME sector in Sri Lanka they don't have an access to the finance. Therefore, they may be going for a polymodalali and higher microfinance organization, and their interest rate is around 30–40%. So it's very high, and then poor become poor, and those entrepreneurs cannot come because they whatever they are earning, they will give it to those unofficial informal lenders. So they are benefited, but the poor people are in the same. So therefore, financial inclusion may have the impact for economic impact for country. right? Okay. So then we are going to discuss another important thing is the banking density. Now, how the banking density is related to financial institution, related to financial inclusion, right? What is banking density? Now, banking density is usually measured as the number of bank branches per 100,000 population. Now, the bank branches in the sense not one single bank. So total banks in Sri Lanka, how many branches available per 100,000 population in the country or at a particular location. That is what you call banking density. Right? Now, what is banking density? Now, if we got Lanka hospital. එතකොට ලංකාවේ ඔක්කොම population එක පාසල් කීයක් තියෙනවද ලංකාවේ? ආණ්ඩුවේ පාසල් is around 10,000. Sri Lankan school population එක කීයද? එතකොට අර සම්පූර්ණ school population එක බෙදුවොත් එහෙම ලංකාවේ තිබෙන පාසල් වලින් එතකොට එනවා density එක. ඒ වගේම ලංකාවේ ඉන්න සියලුම පුරවැසියන්ගේ 20 million බෙදුවොත් එහෙම ලංකාවේ තියෙන hospital එක එතකොට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් what is hospital density එක සෑම ලක්ෂයකටම ඉන්න තිබෙන hospitals ගන්න. Right? ඒ වගේ. Okay, it's something like that. So the banking density is measured. Remember, so many times there may be a questions on this. How many what is the banking density? Right? So the banking density means, remember, the number of banks, number of bank branches per 100,000 population in the country. Right? මිනිස්සු ලක්ෂයකට තිබෙන ශාඛා ගන්න. Can anybody tell me what is the percentage in Sri Lanka? Can any guesses? I need an answer for that. What is the percentage in Sri Lanka? We discussed the literacy level percentage, right? We'll discuss the account penetration level. How many branches, bank branches per 100,000 population in Sri Lanka? Right? Can anybody tell me? Lankawe මිනිස්සු 100කට කොච්චර branches තියෙනවා? What is the bank density in Sri Lanka? Percentage wise? Any guesses? Whether it's like 10%, 12%, 15%, 18%, 20%, 30%, like that? What is the percentage? If the examiner can ask all these things, because this comes at the banking density. Huh? How much you think? You roughly calculate color? Here. Any guesses? Can you answer? It is estimated around 18%. Remember, 18%. So Sri Lankan banking density is around 18%. So what is banking density mean? Bank branches for 100,000. Right. Now, more you banks branches mean what? More you bank branches mean what? So customers can access to banks. Indicate the access of public to banks and financial services. The more the number of branches, so people can go to those branches. That is the access. Accessibility is high. So therefore, the greater the density, the greater will be the financial inclusion, which means great access to financial services. We understood the relationship, right? So the greater the density, the greater the financial inclusion, right? So the improve the bank access, branches, that means your accessibility is increased. So therefore, so we can say financial inclusion is high where you have a branch. Now I will ask from you another important thing, right? In your thinking, right? In your think on this way. Now we discussed little while ago, I mean before the break, bank agents, appointment of bank agents. What do you mean by that? More the appointments of bank agents, financial inclusion is high or low? Same. Bank agent also act as a branch, because agent means representing the bank. So the more the bank agents also improve the financial inclusion. So therefore the bank density and the bank agents have a direct relationship with the bank inclusion. They can අනුලෝමව සමානුපාතික, directly proportionate. ප්‍රතිලෝම කියන්නේ වැඩි වෙනකොට එකක් අඩු වෙනවා. Right? We learned at the physics, right? උස යන්න යන්න පීඩනය අඩු වෙනවා. මතකද? Right. So those are indirectly proportionately. So the more the number of bank financial institutions improve the financial inclusion, whereas the same as the bank agent. Now this time, they may ask you, what do you mean by financial digital inclusion? If exam may ask you like this, financial digital inclusion. So that means more number of people are in getting the services from the digital channels or digital services for banking transactions or financial transactions at an affordable cost is financial digital inclusion. Right now, you don't want to tell all these things. Use your common sense. What is financial inclusion? Financial inclusion, we say, available of financial for more people at an affordable cost. Now, what is financial digital inclusion mean? If more people, less people, more developed people at a low cost, using more technology or their digital framework or digitally to do their business transactions, we call digital or financial inclusion or financial digital inclusion, whatever you name it. Remember, if the question asks like that, right? Can ask, which means a great access to. So people are do lot of questions, right? Okay. Right. Now look at this question. This question, in fact, came on 2016 September. Financial inclusion depends on the level of outreach of various financial services to the wider public, right? So you can say another definition for financial inclusion. You also can take this definition depends on the level of outbreak of various financial services to the wider public. What is meant by financial inclusion? Right? We discussed the average person's knowledge about financial transaction, financial costs, financial market, financial instruments and benefits. It's called financial inclusion. What are the economic benefits of financial inclusion? I discussed with you. Then, okay, how marketing helps to promote financial inclusion? Right? That also, what are the marketing tools used for these purposes? We may discuss under marketing, but we'll see whether the answer is there, right? How does market research help to promoting financial inclusion? A brief explain how does disclosure of financial market promote financial institution? How is banking densities related to financial institution? How do you propose mobile phones to improve financial institution inclusion? Today we have a lot of mobile applications. You can do a lot of transactions using mobile application, right? Thereby you try to reach to the financial institution, right? Okay. Now, what is financial means? That individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products, services in the formal sector to do their businesses transactions. Right? What are the economic benefits? If you want, you just put down that question in your handout in the earlier slide. What are the economic and other benefits of financial inclusion? You can write down financial inclusion facilitates management of finance of people and entities, so suit their income and economic activities. So if they have access to the finance of finance, so they can make use of for their economic activity rather than going for informal sector, right? So therefore, as I told you, they can save, then there's excess income, they can deposit the money with the bank, and then they may have the better relationship with the bank, and also to borrow from the finance for economic activities. So they don't want to now, say for one example, for small sector people, pawning. Now, suppose if the why banks introduce pawning, actually the pawning is not a financial product. Why bank introduce pawning? Because a lot of poor people just pawn their pawning gold articles under the custody of the banks and take some loans. But if the bank is not performing that job, who is going to do that? Is going to do that is the normal informal lender, right? He may have a lot of taxes, a lot of high interest rate. Right now, these days banks are offering maximum of 8-9%, right? But the average informal guy may give 15-16%, right? As interest, right? Those are some of the, so therefore, through financial inclusion, they don't want to, they can still do the pawning as well as they have a better relationship with the banks in the formal sector. They can obtain loans, SME loans, right, for their economic activities. So that is why we need to have more branches. Otherwise, customer can't go for miles and miles away to do the official transaction, right? So if you have more branches which is close to their home, they can go to the bank without going to the informal sector, right? Important things. So, and also remember, they develop their payment facilities and create convenience and efficiency of day-to-day life. So they get used for payment facilities, obtaining cards, debit cards, and things like that, right? As a result of that, what happened? So economy will grow, and also grow, individually grow, and employment build up as economy in general. That is why we need to have a benefits of financial inclusion, right? Okay. So, and those just forget about these points. Right? How is banking density is related to the financial institution? We discussed what is first. You need to say, now if a question comes like this, how banking density is related to financial inclusion? If a question comes like that, how to answer this type of question? First, you need to explain you need to look at this at questions. Came on the long question or the shorter version. Now, if comes with the 5 marks question, you need to write in this way. First, you need to explain what is banking density. Then you need to explain what is financial inclusion. Then you need to have the relationship. So more number of branches, bank branches will improve the financial inclusion. Don't say that is maybe good for question number 2. But if a questions come with a long time, you have to elaborate what is banking density, right? So what is banking density? Measured as the number of bank branches per 100,000 population, right? That is bank density. Then you have to explain what is the bank for financial inclusion, right? So then you need to comply. Then Therefore, the greater the density, the greater the financial inclusion, which means greater access to financial services. Right? First, you define what is banking density, and then explain what is financial inclusion, and then try to create a relationship. Right? This is how you're going to ask. Otherwise, you're losing some marks. The definition for banking density and the banking financial inclusion, you may not. You may get the relationship marks, but not the definition for banking density and the institution. Now it was a heavy like, sir, ma hondata liwa, ane liwa to hondata maliyala naani. Kalla helira dinni. Lakunu tunak hambena na, lakunu dekak mala. Ekai hambela tinni. Why? You only give the relationship, but you are not explaining what is bank density and what is financial inclusion. Right? So you're losing 2 marks knowing the fact. But you know the relationship, but it's no point of the relationship. So you have to explain a relationship. Then, me magi nahi, koda wenni. Me magi appe thattagi nangi ge puta. Angai wage kiyanne ona nakam. Nakama kiyanne ona, right? Then only is covered. And nahi kageda koinde kaada nakam. Right? So likewise, you have to explain. Then you know then you know apne sambandha nakame laga sambandhatawe apne pe close relative kenek the low relative kenek apne mamage duwage puta ek thamai and ape okkoma nahawne neda විතරක් නැහැ කරනු right? You have to mention the relationship, right? Okay, so mobile phone, I told you about. Lot of banks are now do some transaction. It's a very important thing. In fact, you know, these in country like Cuba, not Cuba, Pesa koheda African country, I can't remember the country name. Pesa. So their literacy level is very low, but they are dealing with mobile transaction is very high. Right? Mobile transactions is very high because the Pesa is the mobile application. Without come to Sri Lanka, those people are very less developed country, but they use mobile phones. Right? Only letters, they only put something, some buttons. That's all. So therefore, mobile phones can improve financial inclusion, right? So through mobile applications, right, also facilitate financial inclusion to deal with send remittances and things like that. Okay, right. Now we move into the second part. After all these things we learn under financial miscellany, right? Okay, now we move into another area where we are going to learn about the position of Sri Lanka in relation to banks' duty of confidentiality. Now you may remember, which I told you at the very beginning, when you discuss about the customer charter, we mentioned the 2 documents you need to sign when you accepted the job of a bank. What is the first document? Customer charter. The second document for duty of confidentiality, Banking Act 30 of 1988, Section 77. Remember, make ammage nama wage, තාත්තගේ nama wage මතක තියාගන්න ඕන එකක්. Banking Act 30 of 1988, Section 77. Where they talk about the duty of secrecy. Every director, every manager, officer, or other person, or any other person employed in the business of any licensed commercial bank or licensed specialized bank shall, before entering upon his duties, sign a declaration pledging himself to observe strict secrecy in respect of all the transactions of the bank. customers and the state of accounts of any person and and all matters relating to them to ensure such declaration pledge himself not reveal any other matters which may come his knowledge in the discharge of his duties. Right? Remember. Okay? So remember that we and you and me, everybody working in the bank has already signed this document. That document is called a duty of secrecy. What is the law? 30 of 1988. Now, how it relating to the customer protection? Why not? Because customers are protected. The informations they are protected by have a contract with, have a sign with employee. You are not going to disclose any information about the customer's financial transactions. That is section 77. Right? But they said there are some exceptions. Now this is famous case Tanya versus bank. I don't want to explain that for you, that you are going to learn in your law. Right? So this confidentiality came from UK case study, right? But in Sri Lanka, also legalized in Banking Act 30 of 1988. So other documents you need to have a declaration is what you call customer charter. Two things you have to give a declaration. Banking Act 30 of 1988, section 77. Right? You mentioned here you cannot divert any information, but there are some exceptions. What are these exceptions? There are 3 exceptions you can do. You can disclose customer information. One, by a court of law. By a court of law. Now you may remember we have done at very early days about nomination. What is it? Nomination. One customer bring a court order and request you to, right? Request you to pay his husband, her husband, deposits to credited to his account. Then remember, manager noted that. So the Mrs. NDS, I can't remember, Mrs. NDS, Mr. NDS, say, yeah, Mr. NDS had nominated his son for all this money. So therefore, even for the court of law, the nomination is supersede. But it is, I told you, it is better to import the court about such incidents. So therefore, this information can be communicated because of court of law. Second, by the person to whom such matter related. Right? Third, we will discuss all these things. In the performance of his duties, right? And in order to comply with any other provisions of this act. Now let's look at it one by one in details. When you can disclose customer information. First, as I explained to you, by a court of law. When there is a court order to provide either original or certified copies of document, so we need to give, right, by a court of order. Now the second one, by the person to which such matters, to whom such matters related. There are 2 things here we call express consent. Now what is express consent mean? When the customer authorized the bank to either verbally or in writing to give a reference or information in his account. Customer can in writing or verbally give mage information meyata denda. So then, because it is a right of the customer, they know consent, or maybe implied consent sometimes, right? Usually giving the status opinion to other bank, right? Certain giving status opinions to other bank, right? That's the implied consent. Banku atana poddak as a customary banking practice, none faith another bank or request an opinion. Opinion එකක් දෙන්නේ. විස්තර කියන්න බෑ. Opinion එකක් දෙන්නේ. Or references, right? To customer. Right. Okay. Then the second one, in the performance of his duties, if the bank for some reason institutes legal actions against the customer, or customer goes the bank, right? So the banks have some case actions against you. So then bank need to disclose about the customer. That's another reason. Second, public interest. The Lanka under public duty does not cover disclosure under public duty, but you can disclose because of the public interest. C, in order to comply with any of the provisions of the Act or any other law, like Inland Income Tax Department, FIU. Then, can you tell me another organization you provide information to the customers? Which organization we are going to learn a little later on? Can anybody tell me, other than the Inland Revenue Department or FIU, we send information about the customers to another institution? Can you name that institution? The customer's information we need to provide according to the law, Inland Revenue Department. Inland Revenue. FIU. What is FIU? Financial Intelligence Unit. Right? So we need to provide information, customers' information to them. Institution. Can you name another institution? We send information about the customers. Any guesses? Can you name? You know, definitely you are well aware. What is that institution? So we are dealing with that institution. Customs? Not customs. Can anybody tell me what is the other institution will send information about the customers? Is a central bank regulated independent body, but a law passed in the Act in Sri Lanka. We as bankers, we need to send information to them. Can anybody? It's not CBSL. Another one. Kulini, can you tell me another institution? Every day when the customer comes, we will look at it. Oh, whether it's a good customer or bad customer. What is that institution? Then they will send you. CRIB, very good. CRIB, very good. CRIB. Remember this, another institution, right? CRIB is another institution. Okay, good. So these are the things you need to know when you are studying, right? Certain things, right? Okay. First, okay. Then next one. Now, what is the criminal penalty? Now, suppose you are disclose some information. Now you are in the counter. Sometime you may, when you put some ID number, right? Now you get all the deposit of that particular customer. Oh my goodness! You can pass to Taga or some underworld person and tell them when the Mugawa Mara Saldi tika tira, may information ka manduna, oya muta buy karla saldi tika gand, mata tiya kari dend. I can do, but remember, you cannot do. Why? Because if you disclose information, if you breach of secrecy as an individual employee, because you already enter into a contract with the employer, your bank, under Section 79, if secrecy is not observed knowledgeably or willfully, an employee will be guilty of an offense and liable, if convicted, for 3 years of imprisonment or fine not exceeding rupees 1 million or more. Now there's an issue. Now this act formed in 1988. How many years ago? Like either 1998 2008 නේද? So you look at it 98 10යි 2008 20යි 2018යි 30යි දැන් කීයද? දැන් අපි ඉන්නේ 21යි. දැන් 33 years old act. Now are you aware the Sri Lankan Banking Act like 30 of 1988 going to fully replaced by another act, most probably the new act of Banking Act can come next year middle way. I hope so, right? So therefore you need to study not Banking Act 30 of 1988. Then we may come up with the new act, Banking Act something of 2021. I think to my knowledge the entire Banking Act 30 of 1988 going to replace. It is not an amendment. But amendment can be me act ekatu karana. Now what I heard, now the central bank is going to totally eliminate the existing act, come up with fully new act. අර අලුතින් කිව්වේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අලුතෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තු 50ක් ගේන්න යනවා කියලා අර විවස්ථාදායක ඒ වගේ තමයි. It may never comes, but this one is come. Banking Act is come. The Parliament may not come, but this may come. Parliament may come, but make sure that but the Banking Act may come. So therefore, it's not amendment. සංශෝධන නෙමෙයි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම වෙනස් වෙනවා. Now remember this 1 million 33 years back is a huge amount. But today, හරි මොකද වෙන්නේ පොඩ්ඩක් කියලා 1 million හිරේ ගියත් කමක් නැහැ කියලා හිතනවා. මිලියන 5ක 6ක උත්තුවක් දීලා නේද? 1 million දඩ ගෙවලා අවුරුද්දක් හිරේ ගියදලා ආවත් කමක් නැහැ කියලා දෙනවා. සමහර වෙලාවට. Right? මේ information pass කරලා පස්සේ කාට හරි මට හම්බෙනවා 4-5 million ඉතින් ගිහිලාවත් කමක් නැහැ කියලා දෙනවා නේද? වයි පොඩි ගාණක් ගෙවන්න තියෙන්නේ. දඩේ මාසෙක් අවුරුද්දයි ඊට පස්සේ 3 years. Then ඊට පස්සේ hospital මේ jail එකකට ගිහලා හිස්පිරිතාලයකට ගිහලා ඉන්න පුළුවන් ගෙවන වාට්ටු ගිහලා. Right? You have money, no? Right. So ඊට පස්සේ ඕනනම් ජනාධිපති සභාවක් අරගෙන අඳුරනවා නම් පොඩ shape එකේ ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. So but this amount is 33 years back was a huge amount. But now is no, but this is the prevailing act, 1 million. That is section 79. Right. Now, before I wind it up today from this point, and we may continue tomorrow to discuss about the balance sheet, and we can finish it off entire customer laws and protection. Very interesting, right? You see, a lot of questions will come today. So we have 5 minutes more. So I will have a summarized version, and very interesting. There's a case in Sri Lanka about the breach of secrecy. How many of you are aware about this case? Gamini Fonseca versus People's Bank. How many of you are aware about this case with respect to secrecy? Can anybody knows about this case? දැන් ඔන්න මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අද කතාවක් එක්ක තමයි නවත්තන්න යන්නේ මේ ලෙක්චර් එක. Can anybody know what you mean by Gamini Fonseca versus People's Bank case? අහලා තියෙනවද කවුරු හරි? Kulini, you heard about this? Yes or no? Sorry, Pratibha, Diniti, Kaushal, you heard about this case about the secrecy bank of People's Bank versus People's Bank versus Gamini Fonseca? No? Right. Okay. Okay. I will explain that case. Very interesting case, right? Who is Gamini Fonseca? Who is Gamini Fonseca? Have you heard about Gamini Fonseca? Kauda? Yes, sir. Who is Gamini Fonseca? අපි දන්නේ කවුද? සිනමා නළු රජා. අන්නනේ the films වල ඉන්නේ නේද? Actor. Only that the actor. වෙන එකක් දැන් නැද්ද? Famous actor. හැබැයි case is nothing to do with actor. That's important. You know, everybody knows Gavini Fonseca, famous actor. You don't know any other than Gavini Fonseca about beyond actor. Another counter. Anybody knows about the Gavini politicians? Yes. But it is very hard. They politicians come with just garangan daddy. If your father or mother or close ask who is this Gavini Fonseca apart from a politician, apart from actor, what is he? Are you aware or not? No. He is the one-time deputy speaker of the parliament. Deputy speaker of the parliament. Right? As well as sometimes he's the governor. But when this case came, he was the deputy. He's a deputy governor. Deputy speaker in the parliament. Respected post. Right? So very interesting this case, Gavini Fonseca's case. Right? He's a deputy speaker. You know the newspaper called Rave. Newspaper, big time, famous newspaper against the government every time. But whoever the government in the parliament they talk about something. They disclose certain secrets about these things. Now, during the regime of Gavini Fonseca as a deputy speaker, the big Ravia is a very famous paper, not these days, right? Those days, Ravia paper is a very famous press paper, newspaper on Sunday. In the front page, they carried out an article saying that Niyojya Katanayaka Maha Bankota Polutiyai. Imagine being a deputy speaker, මේ වගේ statement එකක් newspaper එකේ ගියාම මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? මොකද්ද ගියේ? නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායක මහජන බැංකුවට පොළු තියයි. That means he has taken during his early time, he has taken a loan from a People's Bank, Tissamaharama branch, to build a hotel called Sanasuma. Right? Called Sanasuma. Yes. He's taken a loan from People's Bank, Tissamaharama branch. කොහොමහරි මොකක් හරි වෙලා මේක loan එක ගෙවන්න නැහැ. So the arrears comes a huge amount. All informations are correct. The Ravia paper published all the amounts. Don't take an amount, the arrears, the details, everything's in the newspaper. Now what? As a bank, you are not supposed to give all this information to the people without their consent. Now this is my paper can be third party. So then what happened? My goodness, no? What happened then? Secrecy. Break on the secrecy. Maybe at the Katawa, right? We cased it. So then what happened? Then Gavini Fonseca filed action. They filed action against People's Bank, not with Ravi. Ravi is a patteri, that means. Ravi to prove the only action. What is they have filed actions against? Yeah, against the People's Bank. What is under? Under secrecy. Disclose information to the third party. Right. And now, from where this information has got? From Tissamaharama branch. Information is correct. Gavini Fonseca nadu demma කාටද? People's Bank head office. We diverting for information secrecy under section secrecy not maintained. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? Bank of Ceylon head office. Bank of Ceylon head office file actions against who? the manager of the Tissa Maharama branch under section 77. Bank of Ceylon, but they filed actions again, manager of the Tissa Maharama diverting this information to the third party under section 77. Then what then? Gamini Fonseca is asking some fine, I mean some recovery, some money. So People's Bank said, okay, we file actions from the manager. He is not supposed to divulge all this information. We will take from him and pay you. Then we Nadu again, you know, poor manager type. I say a manager maybe not aware, but that information is given by somebody. But who is responsible? Manager. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ මේ manager අයියෝ මැරුණා. People's Bank manager. Then කෙනෙක් මැරුණම නඩු නෑනේ. ඒකනේ ඔය ඉස්සර කියලා මරන්නේ. එතකොට නඩුව අවුස්සි. අයියෝ බෑ. අයියෝ. So I'm sorry, sir, because internet issue, I couldn't hear you when you asked about Gamini Fonseca story. Now it's okay, no? Uta, can now you listen, no? Okay, can you hear now? Yes, okay, right, interesting. Okay, now Gamini Fonseca, then Lois, Gamini Fonseca, Lois, right? And then now this the manager of the Samarame, Narunali. Said, People's Bank sent a letter to the Bank of Ceylon. Now he has the person who is culprit was dead and gone, so he cannot now compensate anymore, cannot carry out the work. Now what do you think? It's very interesting, right? That's the case, right? Make up a case like a secrecy. Gamini Fonseca lawyers has put another case against this. We call under vicarious liability. Vicarious liability. Vicarious liability. Adi. What is vicarious liability? Then right now I'll tell you in single also, right? You can better understand. Now you are a small podikali, hari dangai, a very naughty fellow, naughty boy. Then both are working in the bank. ඔයා අම්මයි තාත්තයි කඩින් ඉන්නවා ගෙදර අල්ලපු ගෙදර ළඟදී ගයක් හැදුවා ඔයා කරපු දේ අර අලි ගලක් කරන් ඒ ගෙදර වී ගහුවා අලි ගලකින් ඒ ගෙදරට කඩලා ඒ ගෙදර වීදුරු දෙක තුනක් කඩලා දැම්මා. Right, you have thrown a stone to that next door's house which is newly built with full of glasses and all. You while you're playing, you just thrown your stone and then all glasses was broken. Now what happened? Now when your parents are coming from home, the next door person waited and telling that ඔයාගේ පුතා අපේ ගෙදර වීදුරු ටික ඔක්කොම කඩලා දැම්මා. ඔයා තමයි මේක වන්දි ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඔයාගේ තාත්තා මොකද කියන්නේ? තාත්තා කියනවා අපි ඇකටි පුතා නේද පුතාගෙන් ඉල්ල ගන්න. We have not instructed my son to do that, so we have not broken. So ask from my son, Mala. Ask from my son now. Manager only passed the information. Now manager is no more there. How can we pay compensation to you? Same thing, no. Ask from that. Then what is it? The vicarious liability. Since he is your son, as provided that may obey obage atati inna obage puta obage samane watka malati obe atati inna puta nisa ඔබ විසින් පුතා කරන ලද්ද දඬුවමට ගෙවන්න ඕන. That is what vicarious liability, right? ඉතින් එහෙනම් ඔයා ඔප්පු කරනකොට මේ මගේ පුතා නෙමෙයි කියන, right? Oh, that's a different story. Okay, now the same thing, but I have not dealt with the manager of the Samarama branch, but Gamini Fonseca's lawyers is telling we are dealing with, my client is dealing with People's Bank. I don't mind with whether it's a Tissa Maharama manager or anything. That is an internal thing. but I dealt with People's Bank. Therefore, on behalf of your manager, Tisamarama, you need to pay this compensation. Okay, understood? No, right. Now this is the case. Same like, but after this case is not carried, and ultimately People's Bank and Bank of Sila, People's Bank and Kamini Fonseca come to a certain agreement and take out this, withdraw the case. But this is the case in famous case in Sri Lanka, where as far as secrecy is concerned. Okay, right. So we will stop now this today, and we may continue the balances from Sunday, and we try to cover this entire customer protection laws and practices. So many questions are coming from this area, right? And if the time permitted, we will complete the balance, or otherwise we will continue for next Sunday, right? Okay, so I think you understood, and thank you very much for being with me on this POA day. I think you learned something. So we will catch you again from next Sunday, right? And try to study, and the balance part also important for other subject as well. Okay, I hope your POA days may be a valuable day for you. You learned something about the customer protections and practices. Okay, then we see you on next Sunday, 1 o'clock. Thank you.